And we're live. What's up, Parlay Pete? How you doing, man?
We're doing fantastic. How are you doing today, AC Lee?
Doing great, man. Went to a Christmas party today. Another fundraiser. We got a lot of good toys for an initiative we're doing down here, helping the kids out. So it's absolutely amazing. Got a charity basketball game up in Cartersville. I'm going to play in on Sunday.
Uh-oh. So that means you'll be in the city this weekend, or are you just going to come up just for that?
Just a day trip. I'm coming up Sunday morning, going back Sunday night.
I'm not mad at that at all.
I am.
I'm not mad at that at all. So was this Boys and Girls Club again, or was it Toys for Tots? What were we talking about?
Toys for Tots. This was Toys for Tots one. Like they threw a specific party.
Good for the community.
Absolutely. But I mean, we're here, and you want a little Brittany Griner to open it up, huh?
Well, yeah, and I was gonna exactly kind of even rotate into that. People coming together, and it looks like the United States finally decided to come together for a cause that a lot of athletes have been championing for a few weeks. Well, I'm sorry, months. To free BG and tell us backwards.
She's free, all right, but it wasn't free.
No, it wasn't. It was a big time trade, actually. I guess you could say.
Blockbuster up there with the 80 trade.
Yeah. Well, it got put on ESPN that way as well.
I think it's up there with the Paul Pierce trade, the Paul Pierce KG trade.
To the Nets.
Yeah, I think Vladimir Putin gave Danny Ainge a call and said, "Hey, you fleece people time and time again in trades. Show me your powers."
He said, "Tell them it's pretty simple. We're going to do a one-on-one trade or no trade at all, and you let them decide what they want to do and who they think is more important to bring home, considering you've got somebody else that's notably been gone too. That granted it, him being gone, a lot of people didn't really know about that. So I guess he could thank Brittany Griner for kind of bringing publicity to him being there. But the fact that he's been there for 4 years, and then the reason he's there, and everybody denies that he's there as an espionage or anything, and then he's still sitting there, as a political prisoner still. You don't have any more trade pieces. You're all out of first-round picks to trade to get him back, too.
So you want to hear something interesting about him? Because, people are upset because Brittany Griner got traded for a arms dealer, a basketball player who broke a petty law, but a law nonetheless, gets traded for an arms dealer. And this is why the Supreme Court is not elected, because we don't want certain things being affected by public opinion. And a lot of times we don't want our foreign relations being affected by public opinion because the public's opinion is usually a bad one. But yeah, so Brittany Griner gets traded for the arms dealer. Danny Ainge fleeces the Nets. What's new? And I proposed a question, though.
Didn't he fleece them twice? The Kyrie trade, considering he was only there for 2 years, and
Kyrie signed as a free agent. No, he fleeced the Nets. He fleeced
Philly. Because Isaiah Thomas went to Cleveland.
To the Cavaliers.
No, Cavs. Not the Nets, Celtics. Right. But he fleeced Cleveland.
He fleeced Cleveland. He fleeced Philly for Jason Tatum in that 1-3 trade.
Mm-hmm. When they knew that, they were taking all along.
Right, and it's a smart move because he's a top 5 player in the league today. So he fleeced Cleveland in the IT trade, and
You could
and he
argue
fleeced
maybe the MVP of the league this year.
right, and he fleeced he fleeced Brooklyn that got him the pick that allowed him to pick Jason Tatum. That boy is made of
And
Old Navy fleece.
well, and you know too, it's crazy the trade that sent Kyrie to Boston ended up being Colin
Yep.
Sexton, obviously for the Cavs, and of course he's no longer there either. And then he even crazier, he trades to get him back, which the trade has worked out very well for Cleveland and Utah too. For what it's worth, Colin's been playing pretty well.
Right, but back to Brittany Griner, right? So I got a question for you. Arms dealer is back on the streets of Mother Russia. Get the vodka. And what's the difference between this arms dealer and a legal American arms dealer who sells his guns at gun shows where you don't have to do background checks? The laws are way more lax, and you can pretty much just exchange a gun for cash on site, unlike if you go to like the Glock store or a licensed gun store. You know what I mean? Like what's the difference? Because I feel like the conservatives are super pissed off about this, that we bring back this basketball player who doesn't matter, who hates America because she wouldn't stand for the national anthem during the Black Lives Matter time, for this arms dealer. When you go, well, what do you care about an arms dealer? The NRA, you guys, y'all don't want to regulate guns. Y'all just want them to have a free for all around here. So, what's the difference? Are you just? Is it because he's Russian?
That could be it. I mean, and then I think, I know at least what I had read. I mean, this is a guy that was planning to get these weapons for use specifically against the United States too. And, the real question will be why. I mean, obviously, I think we know kind of why he was here, but like how that even, happens, right? But like, I don't know. I just look at it this way. I've got a better question than that. And that's how many MVPs is BG going to win now that she's back?
Gonna make me take my glasses off this early, Parlay Pete.
Yes.
Are you really gonna make me take my glasses off this early in the episode, Parlay Pete?
I want to know what type of reception she's going to get in her first game.
Oh, she's gonna get a standing ovation from all 17 people at that game. It's gonna be an unpacked crowd.
Do you think that it'll be the most watched WNBA game of all time? Because they're going to put it on ABC. We know that. Prime time. It'll be the 8:30 slot. Like the Saturday night, like 8:30, how they kind of do the NBA prime time. I think that it's going to be just like that. And I think it's going to be a moment in history.
Okay, yeah. I think it'll be it might get the most eyes in WNBA history, which is crazy because if you go to Kelsey Plum's Instagram, I'm sure she's getting way more eyes than the games are. But how many eyes do you think it draws? 500,000? Do we break a mill?
I'd bump it up to a cool mill. If it's on ABC or something, because I doubt that they would put it on ESPN too, right? I mean, they're not going to do that.
Nah, they'll probably put it on ESPNW.
Baker is cooking, by the way, but nonetheless, yeah, Kelsey.
So apparently the highest rated WNBA game was a playoff game. The Aces were there. The Aces and the Storm, which makes sense. That's Sue Bird and them, and that's Kelsey Plum and them. I get it. Average of 905,000 viewers, and it peaked at 1.4 mil. So can BG get to 1.5?
2. I'll give her 2. Over under 2, with the over being plus odds.
Oh yeah, give me that over.
There's the Baker I know getting sacked.
Hey,
on these 2 drives, he's been kind of flinging it a little. Considering this man just got this playbook on Monday. I'm just saying. But hey, let's not take away from the Brittany Griner story in the WME. I know we do that. It happens so often in this world where other stuff distracts us from what's really important, and that's Brittany Griner finally coming home. We know she probably didn't smoke a fat one on the plane ride. I have to imagine she's probably back now. I don't know, because they probably took – what route would they have taken? What do you think?
Where is she going to? L.A.? I assume she's going to L.A., right?
I think they're just going to get her back to the States first. So maybe D.C. or possibly –
So, yeah, she probably from Russia probably landed – I wonder what she flew on. You think she flew like on a military jet or something, like on a military plane? And they just straight up from Russia.
The closest thing to Air Force One.
Closest thing to Air Force One she's flying in is them damn shoes that Nike makes.
Yeah.
These are jokes. But no. Yeah, they got her. That was funny. Now, they probably got her on, the close thing to Air Force One, got her straight to the Oval Office. To meet with Kamala Harris, a criminal justice reform expert, one who has done a lot to get black people in jail. Wait,
you mean to tell me that she did with Joe, who already spoke with her, who has a 3 strikes policy for that very same thing, basically being caught with weed?
Hey, how crazy is that? That the 2 people who you could put on the forefront of the war against drugs are giving up a arms dealer who had intentions of causing harm to America to bring back an American over drugs. Like that.
You can't make this.
What's the irony? Like, do we even live in reality, or is this like the fucking Sims?
Some days I think it's more of an illusion just in general, but that what we're looking at is not real. But it is. This is really real. Look at Bake.
I'm behind you. Pause. Somebody told me it's a Brittany Griner clone, and the real one didn't come back.
Well, apparently we got a Gucci clone running around, so at this point, I guess it's got some legs to think that too, right? Because BG did look a little different in those pictures, but I'm sure that they had another 6'7", 6'8" woman basketball player walking around that kind of looked just like
her. I mean, no locks anymore, right?
Really?
Yeah, they cut her locks.
Did they really? I haven't seen it. What did they show a picture of her today?
Yeah. It's in a group.
Really? Hold on. I need to look at this.
There was a member of the group who said she was kind of cute. You and that member have something in common. Cam Akers fumbled. His career's over.
Yeah, I see it. That sucks too, because that's taking points off the board. Well, unless the Raiders could go down and give me 7, that'd be really nice. But hold on. Was this earlier in the day?
Yeah, probably around 3. But this Brittany Griner thing's super interesting because like everyone has like an opinion on it, and
okay, here we go. I see it.
And whatever your opinion is, it probably tells you where you stand and what your priorities are. It's like when I saw like the Detroit Pistons, they posted welcome home BG, and they got like killed in the comments. And what I've always said on this topic was, and bring you back in, Parlay Pete.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna celebrate BG coming home, and if we're gonna give away a licensed arms dealer, arms dealer we're gonna give him away for BG coming home. Do we get to go free everyone else in the American prison system and American jails for their possession of marijuana when it was a smokable portion of possession? I'm not talking about selling, even though I don't see the difference. But if you just have possession, right? Are we going to like free all of those guys and gals who are locked up?
Absolutely not. Why would we
So,
do that?
so for the people who are just celebrating this, right? I don't understand you all because if you should she have been in jail for 10 months over a vape pen? In my opinion, absolutely not. But again, there are a lot of laws that we have that I don't agree with, but I still follow them. But how do we celebrate this person coming home? And I bet damn near everybody who hears this knows somebody who has a weed charge, knows somebody who's did time for weed, who has a record for weed. And we don't say freedom. We don't say
Yep.
we don't say they got to get home. Like, dang, bro, you knew what you was doing when you did it. That shit sucked, dog. You know what I'm saying? Hold it down.
It comes with the territory, right?
How flawed is American culture that we care so much about a pseudo celebrity? What is she like, D-list? Maybe C-list because she was dunking in college and she said she could beat DeMarcus Cousins.
Certainly, even in the league now that we've gotten two that just retired, you could argue she's a top 5 player in that league for sure. Like recognizable if you knew anything about the WNBA, she's one of the 5 people you could identify and say, well, Brittany Griner plays in the WNBA. Like,
so at what point do we sit back and say, hey, we care way more about this individual who offers very little to our society outside of entertainment that very few people are entertained by? The numbers say that, not my opinion. Versus somebody who could actually put us in danger, put our country in danger.
right.
Are we that stupid?
Yes. It's the United States. We care more. We champion celebrity here. Like you said, she's D-list. I tell you what, but we'll bump her up to C-list status. But the fact that A-listers have said something, LeBron James, anyone that will listen in general that's a basketball player, the WNBA as a whole, wearing the free BG shirts, making her an honorary All-Star member, even though she was there this summer. We champion celebrity, and this is a good look from the media standpoint of we care enough about people to bring them home that we're willing to give up what, George Bush used to say it so much, terror, right? The war on terror. He used to say it a lot. And so an arms dealer, that sounds like terror to me. But we care enough about not just somebody that necessarily some sort of a celebrity, but we care enough about our own, even when they don't agree with our country and our country's values, right? Of the national anthem. Think about something that we know happens at every sporting event, right? Like the national anthem happens at every sporting. We can put that aside to make sure that we get one of our own home. And it doesn't matter what the cost is. It might take us 9 months to do it, but we'll get it done.
Get her done. Yeah, bro. It's a sad place that we live in. Good for Brittany, good for her family, and I know
I'm sure she got out, and maybe she will learn from this experience. I'm sure she will learn from the experience. And one thing's for sure, I tell you what, everybody can take this away. Don't give a fuck how much you like to smoke weed. Don't do it, and certainly don't do it in a country that's not, an ally of the United States.
Yeah, so I heard some conversation about this, and it was like, yeah, black people, we shouldn't go to Russia. They don't want us there.
Y'all niggas aren't going nowhere.
Right. And then I heard another question. So, what do you think this says about American athletes going overseas? Are they going to be afraid? Are they going to not go to Russia moving forward? I'm like, no. You're going to wait till they get to Russia to get their weed.
Well, and they're certainly not going to bring it home with them when they do get it, even when they get there.
Yeah, Brittany, BG. Let's just be smart here. Let's just have a. Sometimes you look at things and you got to say, let's have it. Let's have an honest conversation about how this should go. Should you bring pot from a place where it's illegal and you have if you get in trouble, the risk is much higher to a place where it is legal for you and people hardly care about it, especially given your status? Take the vape pen, break it, leave it in your room. I don't know. Flush it down the toilet, throw it away. You don't
Or
need.
just don't smoke. I mean, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Are fine, and I'm sure that there are plenty of people in the military that somehow get away with it, but are fine men and women that serve in the United States military cannot do that at all. And because they cannot do it, there might be the biggest pothead ever, but they're not going to do it because they care, about their
About the
job.
paycheck.
Yeah, they care about their job, or in her case, I mean, her freedom obviously was taken, right? So, like, just don't do it. Is it that hard to stop doing? Maybe it is.
Well, why should I have to stop doing it? It's how I cope. It was prescribed for me.
Will you die without this medicine, or is it like insulin? Like, you know what I mean? For like somebody that's got diabetes, where they will die, like they will die if they don't take it, like type shit. Like,
Look, I think I think our society is growing more, or excuse me, less and less resilient. I think that we're always looking for an excuse for why people should be allowed to do things that someone said that they're not. And at the end of the day, like you said, the military thing, the military says, "Hey, look here. If you want our money and our benefits, you won't smoke pot. Period."
and everybody obliges, right? It's a what do they call it? The policy. It's a no exceptions type of policy.
Oh yeah, zero tolerance.
Yeah, zero tolerance. I was about to say zero policy, but zero tolerance.
Exactly. But then you take that out to, they say the WNBA doesn't get paid enough. She should be okay. Well, they don't make enough, but we're not going to go down that one again. And it's like, hey, there are people making less money than you and have more to lose, honestly, because these people are unskilled and young. And if you get kicked out of the military, it's way worse than going into the drug program for the WNBA. I promise you it is.
Which,
And
well,
and
if the WNBA follows the NBA's policy, since it's a subsidiary of it, then they don't get drug tested anyways. Because the
so there
NBA
we
just
go.
threw that. Yeah.
So you have less to lose, and you're making more than other people who are just being disciplined. It's like, hey, have some mental fortitude. I don't know, grow up. Like what would Stephen A. Smith say? Put the weed down or whatever. I just
Monte Adams is a bad boy.
I'm still behind you, so I'm waiting
You'll
for
see
that
it.
play.
He is such a bad boy.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is a mad boy.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it crazy how
I mean,
I'm not
eating
saying
Jalen Ramsey's lunch.
I think that Green Bay would be in the hunt for that wild card if he was still there. Especially
I
with
think they'll
now
be
the
in the hunt for
emergency.
the division.
Nah, I think kind of like I said. I mean, now I guess we don't really know. But think about it. How can a wide receiver make your team go from every year you win 13 games to you're at 4-8? I think they're 4-8, or they're 4-9, or something like that. Like, you're a 4-win
Because
football team. and you're in the last quarter of the season.
Because he's 2 for 67 right now against the quote unquote best corner in the league. And because of the comfort that he and Aaron have, the relationship that they have, the I know where you're gonna be when my third foot hits the ground and my pinky toe hadn't even touched down. Like I know exactly where you're gonna be, and I'm gonna throw this. Like when the chemistry sets up everything else for everybody in the way that the coverage shifts. Kind of like what's going on with the Chiefs, and I know we'll talk about it a little bit later. But that offense, even if the numbers are the same or similar, it's not the same offense. And I was talking about that a couple weeks ago, and we saw it against Joe Burrow and the boys. They can't go up top for a big play when they want to. They don't have that anymore, you know. And the Packers lost that because it took Christian Watson an entire year to learn how to catch a football.
But boy, is he explosive now. Even when they gave him that handoff, he took that for like 40 something.
Yeah, and Derek Carr just ran for 1 yard. So we're kind of off of BG, but I want to stay in like the social race conversation here, right? And I want to talk about everyone's favorite college football coach, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. Coach Prime left Jackson. Coach Prime left Jackson State, accepting a job at Colorado to go be a Buffalo or a Bison, whatever the hell they are.
Buffs. But yeah, Buffalo.
The Buffs. Yeah, go Buffs. I can hear myself echoing from your computer, I think. Really? But never mind. It's going. But anyways, people are upset that he left Jackson State high and dry. And they're saying he's chasing a bag. He sold a dream that he's not delivering. Now it's becoming Jackson State's nightmare. It seems like the world is putting the weight of HBCU culture and on Deion Sanders. And as guys who attended the HBCUs, there are a lot of structural issues that are going on in HBCUs that I think Deion leaving is exposing. But these are HBCU problems well before Deion. Yeah, field goal, huh? You're gonna get your under. You threw a pick.
It doesn't look good unless they're gonna trot Baker out. Maybe they can at least get a field goal. That'd be really good if they could. No, man, he threw a bad interception.
Oh God! Oh yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I see who he was trying to get it to, but like he kind of like, I don't know, he like fucking like finger rolled that shit in.
He shot putted it.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? I don't know.
Derek Carr. But yeah, Coach Prime. Because I think this Coach Prime conversation, we'll probably go here for another 30. But Coach Prime, where do you want to start with? You want to start with Coach Prime having the burden of HBCU on his back?
All this HBCU hate. I want to start there. I think that everybody. Go ahead.
No, I was saying go ahead.
Yeah, I want to start with all this HBCU outrage on this situation because I think that everybody acts as if they don't want to move to the next level and have what is considered a better opportunity. I don't know anyone that sits and runs in the same place for their life. And look, and if you do, that's your prerogative. If that's what you want to do, at the end of the day, it's pretty simple to me. Not only did this man give to that university monetarily, time, and bringing notoriety even to the program to begin with. I mean, historic things were done. You could argue has a number one, number two, number three, top five player in the country ever signed to an HBCU?
Not since segregation.
Did it ever occur to anyone? And obviously, the HBCUs have put out great players. I mean, I look at Steve McNair, Walter Payton,
Shannon Sharp,
Jerry Rice. It's a lot of guys that have come out of it. Huh?
Too Tall Jones, Dominique Rogers Cromartie.
Yeah. there are guys that come out of HBCUs and, typically they're not highly touted necessarily, but guys still come out of HBCUs. But to be able to get a guy that, for all intents and purposes, everybody's looking at him and saying, bro, you're going to be a first-round pick, by year 3. And for him to get him to flip, not just to flip to come to Jackson State, but for him to flip from Deion's alma mater in Florida State, because that's who he was signed to. He was signed to go to Florida State. Deion went to Florida State. And who knows, maybe Deion wants the Florida State job, which a lot of people think he's going to try and fuck his way to the top. Basically he'll do all right at Colorado. Colorado will have an 8-win season. Florida State might be struggling next year or something, and then they're going to be like, well, we want Prom to be here because he's one of our own. Who knows?
What's wrong with that?
There is nothing wrong with it, and that's the issue. And we had a clip that got posted in the group. It'd be great, honestly, if you could pull that up and even play it, because I thought it was pretty profound from a guy that me and Lee have – that a guy that we have not been hot on for a long time.
He's pulling me in though.
I'm starting to agree more and more with him. And that's not the first take. He had something else he had said that made a lot of sense before that too. It was another clip. And maybe I need to start giving Whitlock a chance. Because
bro. So I'll tell you, even when he was on Fox, he would have certain takes. I go, I can get with that. Then he would just say something else that was so outlandish. I'm like, you're giving me sellout vibes. But the more and more I listen to him and the more and more I grow and mature, dog, I'm just more conservative than I was 5-6 years ago. And he aligns with that a lot more. And even if we disagree on the state of Black America, if you're going to talk about Black people becoming more independent, or if you're not going to be independent, just stand on that and say, hey, no, I want to be part of these other of the man's world and thrive in it. Just say that. And it's okay.
Yeah.
But here goes the clip. It's about 3 minutes. Jason Whitlock.
It is my number one takeaway. As Black people, we would rather beg than build our own. That's what this whole Deion Sanders situation truly illustrates. Rather than build our own great program, dynasty, legacy, rather than build our own platform, we'd rather go beg white people to give us access to their platform. That's what this is. Deion Sanders had an awesome opportunity, and not just Deion Sanders, a lot of the Black celebrities that you hear running their mouths about Black Lives Matter and diversity, equity, and inclusion, and Black coaches just don't get a chance. All these people that are so pro-Black. You won't hear one Black celebrity today, tomorrow, next week, anytime last week say, oh man, I'm mad Deion left Jackson State because I was going to donate $50 million to Jackson State's football program and athletic program in order to keep that thing rolling. You won't hear P. Diddy say that. You won't hear LeBron James say that. You won't hear Dr. Dre, who gave $70 million to USC. You won't hear him say
Despicable.
that. You won't hear Oprah Winfrey. You won't hear any of the people, any of the alleged pro-Blacks talking today or any, man, you know why I'm mad Deion left? It's because I was just about to dump a bunch of money into Jackson State and really try to take SWAC football to the next level. You won't hear it. You know why? Because we think that the white man's ice is colder. Period. End of story. And we don't believe in building anything of our own. Period. End of story. You won't hear any of the talking heads, any of the media personalities say, hey, how come Black celebrities and people of wealth didn't rally behind Deion Sanders and Jackson State and other HBCUs and see that Deion created a great opportunity to build the HBCU product into something great and profitable and exciting and sustainable for HBCUs How come black celebrities didn't rally around him? What you will hear is some will complain, oh, Deion ran off for Colorado, or you'll hear him saying, of course Deion left. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to elevate. And it's because anything that's all black, we don't think is any good. So we don't build it, we don't invest in it, and we certainly don't support it over the long haul.
You know, I really enjoyed that. And the end though, is where it gets, where the conversation is, right? We oftentimes don't invest in something that's all black for the long haul because you get a better return on investment when you go to the already established thing that's going, right?
Right.
And what is your end state? I think there's this idea that every black person is trying to be a martyr for Black America, and that's not true. Most of the martyrs for Black America are poor. Like right now, this is a black produced podcast that focuses on black stuff, and the idea is to stay as independent as long as it makes sense. But if Barstool says, hey, AC Lee, I see you and Parlay Pete do this podcast all the time. We kind of like what you're doing. We want to give y'all $500K a year to do this podcast. And if y'all get the right numbers, we'll renegotiate in 2 years. What are we doing? I think we're going to Barstool, man. I think like up in the top right corner, there's going to be a Barstool sitting up there.
We're not fucking thinking twice about it. As long as we still have creative control over what it is that we're doing and that they don't make us say something that we don't want to say. And even then, I mean, shit, I'll be like, all right, well, what do y'all want me to say first? Let me at least know.
Right.
With this shit, if that's what you want me to say, I can dress it up how I would normally say it. And that doesn't make me a sellout.
Dress it up, make it real for me.
It doesn't make me a sellout. It means that I want to help propel my family. Now, I get prime rich. Like, I get what everybody's trying to say. Prime already is good. We don't really know that man's finances, but the reality is we know he played in the NFL for a long time, but he wasn't getting these fat fucking contracts that niggas get today.
No.
And even for the TV money he got at NFL Network, I don't know what he was making there. But, and Prime, because he is who he is, it's never hard for him to make money, which is why him going to Jackson State should really be looked at as super duper admirable anyways to begin with, because he didn't have to fucking do it if he didn't want to.
And think about the caliber of player that Prime is. Prime was a high school football coach first out in Texas. Then he goes to coach HBCU football. And if you listen to Shannon Sharp talk about it, right? He's like, because they're friends. Prime, how do you do it? How do you have the patience? Because again, most high-end players aren't high-end coaches.
Right.
And what I want to put out here, very important, is that with Prime, the money move may not have been for him. Okay. When you talk about, oh, he just did it for the bag. No, he's a football coach. He's trying to build a football program, and he needs the resources necessary to build a competitive football program. And in order to build a competitive football program, you need hundreds of millions of dollars. When the AD came out and said, we ain't got the money, but we're going to find it, he wasn't bullshitting. Because in order to have a real football program, hey, his son is a quarterback, put up great numbers. Three-star prospect out of high school, had the offer from, you name that school he could have went to. Bama, Georgia. Right. His older son left South Carolina to come to Jackson State. So he's playing in the SEC. Especially for his quarterback son, he wants him to get a fair shot at the league. And getting a fair shot as a quarterback in the NFL means you got to get drafted in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to get drafted in the first round out of Jackson State as a 6'1" quarterback? No. No matter what his pro day looks like, no matter what his combine looks like, no matter what his numbers look like, it's not going to matter. He's going to have to go play against high-level competition in order to get that chance. Guess what? He's going to a Power 5 conference. So when you think about the big picture, he's employing more coaches, getting them more money. Apparently, Willie Taggart's about to join his staff, black coach, former head coach at Oregon and Florida State.
Former Florida State, yeah. Let's not leave that out.
He's bringing his Louis V luggage because he told
Florida State.
Huh?
Probably when you look at Oregon and Florida State, he may have been the first black coach at those schools.
Probably.
Potentially.
So he's sometimes you gotta leave the hood to make the hood better. All right. So don't get me wrong. What Deion did at Jackson State, he brought money there. He got them Under Armour. He got them on TV. I read somewhere where he got the 10-year contract for the HBCUs on ESPN. We got the SWAC MEAC championship game at the end of the year in Atlanta. He brought money. Yeah, he brought money. He brought notoriety. He got the HBCU combine, right? Like, come on, bro, dog. Jackson, Mississippi ain't got clean water right now. How the hell is he supposed to run a football program?
And he donated to that too, as well.
Right. So, like, so often black people want black people with money to just struggle because everybody else is struggling. And it's like, hey, man, sometimes I got to get out of this struggle. I got to change what I know and what I see in the relationships that I have in order to bring more to our community. So then you as an individual can figure out what you want to do with it. As somebody who grew up in Cartersville, Georgia, I promise you I have more to offer the black community of Cartersville, Georgia, now that I've left. Like, one of my biggest issues with the black leadership in my hometown is, dog, most of them ain't left. This is all y'all know. I'm not saying that y'all's hearts are in the wrong place, because your hearts are in the right place, but it doesn't mean you've been equipped with the skills. You've been equipped with the network. You don't have the friends to make some shit shake.
And even more so, another thing, because people could say, well, Prime was already an NFL player, and that's what made him such the perfect candidate to come in and do it, because he already knew stuff. Granted, he had never coached college football, but he's also a two-sport athlete. Maybe you could argue the greatest corner of all time. Certainly one of the greatest return men of all time. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He had the star on his fucking helmet too. You know what I mean?
And he knows Jerry Jones' number by heart.
Yeah, and Jerry loves him, I'm sure. He sold plenty of jerseys for him. But nonetheless, and tickets. But nonetheless, Prime could bring in everything that he knows and put it into these guys that they would not get from that guy that played at Jackson State, that's been living in Jackson, Mississippi his whole life, that I'm sure has a good heart and is probably a good man. But we don't know what type of football coach he necessarily is, too, just like we didn't know what type of football coach necessarily Prime would be. But Prime's bringing in this extra stuff. Young dogs coming out there. Gilly. What's her name? Brittany Renner, even bringing in the – you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that only Prime could bring to a program like this.
Well,
and then not only does he bring it –
think about this. They didn't even want him in the SWAC. They said, you ain't SWAC. Like, think about how simple-minded so many people in our community are. And I usually don't use this word that much on the podcast anymore, but it's how simple-minded niggas can be. Hey, nigga, you ain't a nigga like us. So you can't be a part of this. Just like you hear, especially in hip-hop, where they start talking about, bro, you ain't no street guy. You don't know what I'm saying. You don't blah, blah, blah. So you ain't even, bro, you ain't even real. You ain't went through this, bro. You had two parents, bro. You had supportive family around you, dog. Boy, you soft. You don't know nothing about. Hold on. So I'm not black because I'm more fortunate than you are. You know how stupid that sounds? Like, do you enjoy the struggle? Like, do you want to struggle? Black community gets so upset with our situation and where we are in our standing But I sit back and say, what decisions are you making to make it better? Because it sounds like you're glorifying struggle, right? You you say, hey, we need more black businesses. Well, start one, support one. How many people
Promote.
from PWI who went to PWIs haven't touched the HBCU, don't support black businesses, are telling Deion Sanders he should do the same thing? Miss
Yeah,
me.
but that's because typically they're the ones that they're putting in these positions to be on these white networks to talk about it to begin with. Now, granted, Bomani being a unique case, but Bomani also still worked for the 4-letter network, worked for HBO. He wouldn't have a voice if it wasn't for these white people too. And so why are we acting like
he went to CNN to trash a black man instead of at least going to Drink Champs, going to Joe Butt? Hell, go to the Breakfast Club at least. Go to a black platform and do it. If you can't go to a black-owned network, at least go to a black radio station, a black radio show. You know what I mean?
right?
Talk to Charla.
Could have got Yee before she went out. I think she's gone now. But
yeah, her last episode was this week. Not that I care. I don't watch that nonsense.
Me neither. Syndicated ass radio show.
I mean, because they're the same way, man. They're not spewing their own thoughts anymore. They've gotten washed in the water, the blank Watatonka.
Well, what's going to pay us? I mean, which is why Prime left. What's going to pay me?
And I still don't think it's what's going to pay me. It's what's going to put me in the best position to do what I want to do. Hey, sometimes the black-owned business ain't the best business to get this shit off. Like, I went to Morehouse, and if you want to work, if you want to be a preacher, if you want to get into politics, if you want to get into business, go to Morehouse, you'll be fine. You want to be a lawyer, go to Morehouse, you'll be fine. But dog, if you want to work in STEM and you want to be a heavy hitter in STEM, if you ain't getting that 5-year dual degree program with tech, I'd say, bro, don't go to Morehouse. Don't, because we're not there yet. And we may never be there because that's not necessarily the biggest focus of the university, or of the college. And that's okay. Sometimes we have to admit where we're lacking at. And if you want to be a great football player, if you want to go to the best football, the best football job, right, which is the NFL.
You got to say factory.
Yeah. No, you should go to a football factory. You shouldn't go to 867 Westview Drive. You should take your ass to Athens and go holler at Kirby. You should go to Tuscaloosa and holler at Nick. You should go to USC and holler at Link. You should go to Michigan and holler at Harvard.
Should you go to Texas A&M to holler at Jimbo?
I wouldn't. I would go take that freshman year bag and then transfer, but no.
So only for business going there. We're not going there.
Only for business, yeah. Nah, you tell whoever you're actually going to end up with, hey, I'm taking this bag from Jimbo. Mama need new clothes.
Has he put anyone in the league?
Jimbo?
That's like legitimately like a player, because Von Miller was before him, and so was Mike
Jalen Ramsey.
And obviously football was in the league.
Jalen Ramsey, Dalvin Cook,
no, I'm talking
Jones.
about A&M. I'm not talking about Florida State.
Probably some linemen we ain't never heard of.
Shit.
Yeah, probably somebody that don't really matter. No headliners.
Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if Deion got that job in 2 years. Once the buyout's a little bit, well, in 2 years it'll be a little bit better. I mean,
it'll be like 60.
Now, at least it'll be like 40 or 30. I mean, god damn, like.
Oh, take a sack, Baker. Take a sack. Yeah, bro, that under is under.
I am so mad too because I'm gonna hit this parlay if I can just get the over. Because the Raiders are gonna double this. Yeah.
Is there anything else on the Deion thing that we're missing that we haven't discussed? Because I just think it's such a layered conversation, and
it can go a lot of different ways. I tell you what, I'll say this, and that'll be my piece on it. But black people, please stop criticizing a brother for taking a job. First of all, in general, this is what college coaches do. Let's just Put that out there too. And I know a lot of the people that are talking
Who's
about
car
it
salesman?
outside of your Bomani Joneses, right? Outside of your Bomani Joneses, a lot of these guys are people that went to PWTs, PWIs. Yeah, I said T. I was about to say PYT.
Pretty young
PWIs.
thing.
And then there's people that don't even fucking watch football. You know what I mean? That are like commenting on this shit, and it's just crazy to me.
Bro,
Congrats,
that's what killed me.
For all he accomplished and what he did give to the university, because anyone else that was there wouldn't have fucking done it.
Couldn't have done it. Nah, the worst is the well, what
Damn
about all the
haters.
kids? What about the kids that he left stranded there? What about the kids who committed? It's called the transfer portal.
And they're all going to Boulder.
Or it's like, hey, you got access to an education. Now, I don't know if that's the education you want. I'd be hard pressed to send my daughter to Jackson State. Just gonna be honest with you. They're paying for you to go there. I'm not. Hey, quick aside. Is there a line that you can draw the parent to where, like, again, if your kid is academically capable, right? I'm not gonna talk about the BC student who you just trying to get him or her to college, right? Or just get him or her out to house trade school, wherever it is, right? But you got the kid who does pretty good at school, has pretty good test scores, all of that good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like draw a line and like, hey, I'm not paying for you to go to this college. I'm not saying you can't go, but I'm not paying for this.
I think it would just, I mean, no. The only way it's an issue potentially is if I know as a parent, not only, okay, you got into another school, but like scholarships and stuff matter. Like you talk about, well, it's going to cost me $40,000 a year for you to go here, but you got a full ride to this school that's going to give you just as good an education. What you want to focus in, they do it too, and they do it just as well. Maybe they're not on the tier of that, right? Potentially just a hypothetical type situation, but we're not going to just turn down the free money. So in a situation where you could pick and choose. Now, it's one thing, right? If you're, that's just hypothetically in the state of Georgia, right? Georgia State in-state tuition might be $7,000 a year. And you want to go to Howard, but Howard's out-of-state tuition is $30,000 a year. And you'll probably get some hope here, some sort of hope. Even if it's not full ride, you'll get some money. And it's even, not only is it just cheaper, but it's going to be even cheaper. I think that's when I start to have that. But overall, if it's just,
now you're talking about institutions that you're okay with. What happens if your daughter says, "Dad, I want to go to Fort Valley"?
Oh no,
that's what I'm talking about.
And be like, what boy are you chasing, or which one of your friends is talking that shit in your head?
I'm not talking about like the difference between good and great.
Fort Valley, by the way, for anyone that went there, it's nothing wrong with the institute. I'm sure that if anyone that went to Fort Valley is listening to this, I'm sure that you're educated and that you had a grand old time your whole time. But it wasn't for me, and it won't be for anyone that's a part of mine.
And that's the point I'm getting at. Like, I got a cousin. He went to Fort Valley. He's living in the city, playing golf every weekend. He's doing great for himself. But I didn't pay for that education, and I won't pay for that education.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's gonna sound bad, and maybe I'm just like Prime looking to level up, and I think the white ice is colder. There's only about 5 HBCUs that are getting my money. And I don't think
Yeah.
and one of them public.
I think I do.
Let me see.
Are we talking
Morehouse?
Spelman? Obviously, depending on if you're,
Right.
man. Howard,
Yes.
Hampton,
Yes.
FAMU.
FAM and maybe Tuskegee.
Okay, I'm okay with Tuskegee.
FAM's the only public when they can get my money. The rest of them,
Yeah, I'm not even on board.
I have to sleep hard on AT or Central. I have to do some more homework. But, and maybe we do a HBCU conversation on this pod one day, like when football season's over. But we got to reach into our network and find our friends who went to different HBCUs, because Morehouse, Spellhouse, we're snobs. Like, you could be a peasant at Morehouse and you walk on another HBCU campus and you immediately become a snob. Even though you fit in with them more, you go, what is this going on here?
Right. What is this nigga?
Oh, y'all do this? Y'all niggas do this? Like, the criminals are the cool kids on campus?
Oh, so this is what's considered fun.
Like, when I went down to Savannah State and I was like low-key traumatized because I watched the shooting. And when yes. I saw a guy on top of a navigator or Escalade, one of the two, couldn't tell, shooting down into the moonroof at a stoplight across the street from the campus, trying to go park so I can get snuck on the campus, because they have a curfew for visitors without a student ID because the area is so bad, right? So I'm telling everybody there that story. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, bro, they get to shooting at that club all the time." I'm like, hold on, so y'all ain't bothered by this. Y'all are used to this.
Right, this is cool.
No, bro. Like, the West End was bad, but I mean, you might get some stupid 19-year-olds fighting at a Morehouse College party, but it's not. We're not worried about somebody pulling out a gun for real.
Right.
A couple times some niggas done shot in the air. Been a stabbing or two. And that one time, Buddy did get shot outside of Archer. But, like, the campus stopped for that.
Well,
we ain't just.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we've talked BG. Talked Prime.
Who, Coach?
Yeah, we talked Prime. Speaking of, Coach was definitely in the game this weekend. You want to go? You want to actually talk sports? You want to talk sports, or we want to talk about fucking Herschel running out of votes? Where we go with this?
We can go ahead and get into Herschel. Might as well. No. Let's finish out with Herschel.
Okay, because I really want to play that
Go ahead. Only reason I say that is just because we started off with the first two topics being these very, I'm not even going to say controversial, but like heavily,
Hey, we're trying to get impressions up with these. We're trying to get impressions up with these first topics, okay? We want to talk about the stuff that people want to talk about.
Hey.
Yeah, we produced this show too. I mean, I'm not going to come on here and say, now, Parlay Pete, do you really think that Desmond Ridder is the best rookie in this draft class, even though he hasn't played yet?
Now, you might as well throw that herb in there.
Desmond Ridder, starting quarterback, Atlanta Falcons. Parlay Pete, react.
No, I have to give almost like a Max Kellerman type of talk to it. I think of it this way. You had nothing to lose. You had nothing to lose with starting Mariota. He did what he did. We knew what he was, and we still know what he was. It is. We've at least got this guy. There's this unknown. Maybe he brings a spark. They're not out of the division race. He can do all these things. We saw one thing's for sure. He's a fucking winner, right? He's a winner. Cincinnati, nothing but 10-win seasons, 4-year starter. The guy's matured. The guys had to get it out the mud. He led that team.
Parlay Pete. Parlay Pete. Don't make me throw up in my mouth, swallow it, and throw it back up again. He didn't even play in the Power 5. And look what happened with Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide roll into town. They made Dez look like dust.
What better of a game for him to get his start coming off a bye? You get to go to the New Orleans Saints. You get a week and a half, 2 weeks to prepare for the biggest rival, and you could set the tone and give a spark to the team and to the fan base to where they're behind you.
And when the season's over, Arthur Blanks and the boys are going to be like, bye, 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 because he's going to be back on the street, boy.
Of everyone that you could take last shot.
Yo, hey.
The universe on the line.
We might
I want Desmond Ridder. No, but seriously, obviously, I think that the move was necessary, considering everything that we do know. Mariota, like I said, I don't even think Mariota has been statistically, if you look at his stats, he hasn't been actually god awful. But what he has been is inconsistent. And in the big moments, he seems to not make the plays. So you're 5-8 for a reason. Bill, exactly. Bill Parcells said it best. You are what your record says you are. And this is a team that's 3 games below 500. And in reality, playoffs were ambitious to begin with because we were supposed to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. And honestly, we're not too late for that. We can still finish with a top 8 pick in this draft. We're not going to have a top 3, 4, 5. I think Russ and the Titans and it's a couple of other teams that are kind of really in play for that. Right. But in reality, we can still be a pretty bad team. Let's see what we have. If the guy doesn't win any games, good. We know he's not the future at the position, and we can make the necessary moves we need this offseason in order to figure out who that is going to be.
Man, look, I'm happy this move happened, and while we were still competing for the division closely, right, keep Marcus in. Don't change it. It doesn't look good, but it's working. And let me tell you what happened when the AJ Terrell. So AJ Terrell looked like he picked off a ball, got overturned. It wasn't a pick. And I'm like, shit. So they punt it, and I'm on the visitor side, right? And I've made Steelers friends. Let me tell you, Steelers fans absolutely amazing. Let me tell you the franchises that are good and they are some of the best fans. If your team is consistently good, because they will talk trash all game, but it's never fight talking trash, unlike those terrible Chicago Bears fans. That's why I had that guy removed. Absolutely. Got him out of there. But we're like, I'm quiet, and the people in my section know what I do. I talk shit the whole game. And they're like, hey, you're quiet today. Well, we're losing. We're not making plays. I can't say first down if we don't get no first downs.
Right.
But anyways, I go, okay, y'all, here's what's gonna happen. Marcus Mariota is gonna Marcus Mariota. 3 and out. But he's gonna give us some hope, and he's gonna throw a pick. First play, Minka Fitzpatrick. Marcus Mariota stared the receiver down. It just looked like, you know how when you out somewhere and you see like a girl who you maybe got an eye for, maybe that you used to mess with, and she with somebody else, you ain't totally over it, and you just like give her that look, and you want her to like, you want to make sure she see you staring at her.
Right.
That's what Marcus Mariota did to that receiver on that pick. And Minka Fitzpatrick was the guy that she actually wants. He said, mine.
Who was he throwing it to? Was it Drake at least?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I think it was Drake, but I mean, pick. And then everybody in the section is like, you called it. You called it. I don't even, and then Falcons, I don't even know why you put that in the atmosphere. I watched the games, man.
I didn't put that shit in the atmosphere. Marcus did.
Yeah, he threw that bullshit. And after the game, we're leaving out, and I say, man, being a Falcons fan is like taking Viagra and not having sex. Like, our team is bad, and we've been in every single game except for the Bengals game. We've had a chance to win every single game this year. And when people go like, I don't understand why Falcons fans be thinking they're going to win, I go, bro, do you watch the game? Almost every loss we've been driving with the ball in our hand to score, to win, or tie.
And we turn the ball over, or, they get a first down or something to run out the clock.
Sorry, every time my thigh gets rubbed, I get a little excited.
No, but all in all, it's the right move. I'm glad that Arthur Smith's finally coming to his senses. I thought that after the Commanders game, he would have made that move. Some people thought that he should have made it before the Bears game because we were coming off the Thursday night game and Marcus Mariota, he threw that pass on his back. That was a pick. That would have been a pick six at least. Good thing he was down, right? But a lot of people thought that we should have did it then because it was kind of a mini buy and, it wasn't over yet. We were still in it. And for all intents and purposes, they actually kind of still are in it. They absolutely they can go no worse than 3-1 to have a chance. And what's on their side is that Tampa has to play the Bengals and somebody else. Who?
They got San Fran this week, and they're almost they're 4-point underdogs to Purdy.
For all intended purposes, they're catching them at the right time.
Baker sucks. Nah, Baker blows. No, Baker's a hand job.
6 or something though. That'd be really helpful for me.
Yeah, Baker's a hand job. Huh?
I said it'd be really nice if he could have just throw us like a pick six though.
As your friend, I just recommend on Thursday just bet the under.
Yeah.
I mean, the under is going to consistently hit on Thursday.
I got it right in the Titans game.
That was stupid. That was so stupid. Dude just pushed the punter for no reason.
That was stupid.
They're not calling it, but that they should call that because that was stupid. Yeah, please.
Yeah,
give him 15.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
Maybe they'll score. I'm curious as to how that's not. How's that not a foul?
Yeah, bro. That I mean, he pushed him.
If the kick is released, and and as long as it's above the legs, like
I don't know. I just think it should be a penalty because it was stupid. And I mean, we're watching this Rams game, and Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback for the not starting. He came off the bench for the Rams, kind of like Lou Will, off the bench, baby.
They knew that he was gonna be the guy, though.
Can I officially call Baker Mayfield a bust?
Yes, he's on his third team in 2 years, and he will be on his fourth team in 3. And he's not like Russell Westbrook, a guy that like is already an MVP and he's like late in his career or something. Like if Matt
got a
Ryan wanted,
contract.
we couldn't be mad. Be like, yeah, he's on his third team in 3 years, like because his career is over. This guy's
Here's the
like
thing.
20, not even 25. All right, he is. He's like 26, maybe
about-
20.
Think about Baker, right? Baker would be okay if he got drafted where he was supposed to get drafted.
Third, fourth round.
Yep. I remember that draft, Bucky Brooks, like he has a third or fourth round grade. I mean, I'm mocking him in the first round because of what I'm hearing. But when I watch his film, I look at his size, I look at the intangibles. He's a third or fourth round prospect. Maybe late second.
Well, right. Basically nothing to see here.
But that begs a bigger conversation, the overdrafting of quarterbacks, because the league has become so quarterback dependent. Quarterbacks are getting overdrafted. And don't get me wrong, they just fucked up the whole quarterback position in Baker's draft because picks 1, 2, and the quarterbacks 1, 2, and 3 are essentially out the league now. Baker, Darnold, and Josh Rosen. And I know Darnold is starting this week. They're out the league.
Yeah. None of these guys.
No, 1, 2, and 4. Sorry, 1, 2, and 4 because 3 Josh Allen and then 5 Lamar Jackson. One has the MVP and one's in the MVP conversation and in the conversation for best quarterback in the league. But I think how I talked at the beginning of the year of the return of the run.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a correction back to, hey, you can win games if you run the football. If you have good balance, you don't have to throw the ball 80 times to win in this league. You can run the ball because you have these light pockets. I'm hoping there's a correction, and maybe this draft was the correction. I don't know because we didn't have great quarterback prospects. This upcoming draft, I don't think we have a great quarterback prospect. We stop overdrafting these guys. Hey, if he's a second round guy, if I can't get him in the second round or move up in the back of the first like they did for Lamar in Baltimore, I'm not taking him.
And Jalen Hurts is kind of a prime example of that, right? Because I think he was invited to the draft that year. Obviously, we knew how good he was at Bama, but then he had those Heisman-like numbers. He was second in the Heisman race that year to Joe Burrow. And, everybody kind of looked at it as, he seems like he might be kind of a project, but we can see the potential because he's the type of quarterback that's needed in this league anyways, and he's strong. Like, the question is, I hate to pull the whole black card on the arm, but basically the arm. How good is the arm? And but he's a guy that got drafted appropriately, a second round pick. Could easily potentially be your franchise. But we also don't know, but he's worth taking a flyer on this high because of the potential that we do see.
Exactly. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find this shit. This is January 19th. Working on a piece on Jalen Hurts to counter the narrative that Philly can't win with him. I've seen steady progression over the last few years. Plus, he'll be in the system second year, and Philly has 3 first rounders. What are some things about Jalen that makes him so special and should increase people's optimism about him? Who he is as a person. Got that from quarterback coach. It really pissed me off when I got it, and I've talked about it on here before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is as a person, dog. That's really all you're going to give me right now? But when you hear what comes out about him and you see it, and you see that, oh, yeah, he's progressed each year. He's gotten better at something every single year. You go, damn, bro, that was the right answer. Because who he is as a person, he cares about what he puts on the field. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. Hey, and he throws one of the best deep balls in the NFL.
And you can see the leadership, obviously. Like, you can see it.
I mean, Jason Kelce, Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame center, voice of that team, one of the lead dogs of that Super Bowl team, gave him the team. He said, "This is your team." He didn't have to give that team to him.
No, he didn't. But he obviously liked what he saw and said, "You know what? No, this guy's a captain."
Young boys made of the right stuff. So I love what I'm seeing with him, but it goes back to Baker and not maturing, right? Oftentimes we all grow up, but it doesn't mean that we mature. Because I'm older than I was yesterday, but that doesn't mean I'm more mature. And you and I, we sit around and we have a bunch of off mic conversations. And y'all, believe it or not, when we're off the mic, sports is hardly our conversation. We talk about life.
Yeah.
And we actually get vulnerable and talk about like shit that's important to us and shit that bothers us. And we talk about it and how we and working through those things. And I think it speaks to like a level of maturity, right? Like, hey, I can be vulnerable with my guy friends. Guess what? When I was 20 years old, you're not getting it out of me. I gotta talk to you about things that emotionally bother me. Well, Baker hasn't gotten to that point to where he can be a Jalen. Jalen. What's his last name? I just lost it.
Hurt.
Jalen Hurts, right? Where Jalen Hurts, because of who he is, what makes him great. Well, who Baker is made him a bust. He spoke on people's money. He always had that FU mentality. And if you always worried about everybody else and saying F them, well, you're really saying F yourself because you're not working on you. You can't focus on you if you always focus on what everybody else got going on.
Yep.
Like when people say there is no competition, yeah, my competition is me. Don't get me wrong. I make sure that I'm holding myself to the right standard based on what's going on outside. But I remember one time I failed a quiz. I told my mom, I'm like, well, the highest grade in the class was like a 62. She was like, well, you made a 49. So I don't care about the rest of the grades. I care about your grades.
Right.
I ain't raising them kids. I expect you to do this. And if you ain't doing this, you need to figure out how to do it. And again, not being externally focused, being internally focused. And I just think Baker's too externally focused on trying to prove everybody wrong when he should just try to prove himself right.
Yeah. And, you know, you could even look at it to a degree, too. I get why he wanted out of Carolina, why he asked for his release. I think he was probably really expecting the 49ers to pick him up. But obviously there was going to be a market for him just because somebody's going to kick the tires. But he had to know, too, that in this type of situation, it's all or nothing now, baby, because this opportunity was the opportunity you would have gotten this offseason where you would have definitely been a backup. We know you would have been a backup. But this is a unique opportunity because they have such bad quarterbacking. He's auditioning for a backup role right now. He's putting himself on the spot this season, even though we already saw this season. Now, granted, dumpster fire, somewhat of an organization. Oh, they could. Yeah, I was about to say, I knew they were going to probably.
It wasn't catchable. It wasn't catchable.
Who knows? Well, he bumped him so early. We don't even know if he could have got. I don't think he would have got there, but.
You got to call it, but it wasn't catchable.
Right.
Oh, man. I don't like that call.
I'm not getting my over. That's what I do know.
Kirk Herbstreit's not made for fucking Thursdays. I'll tell you that much. All right, so we got to Baker. While we're on quarterbacks, James Garoppolo got hurt again.
Mm-hmm.
Liz Frank injury. No surgery necessary, so he could return in 7 or 8 weeks. I doubt that it happens. Should James Garoppolo retire from football?
No. Too much money to be made. A team like the Falcons, if they miss out on obviously drafting one of the top guys that they really like, and then can't get, a Lamar or whatever. He fits the needs of, and especially he brings to the table, well, look at my record when I am healthy. And I played 2 full seasons, essentially. You can look at my two full seasons of health. I went to the Super Bowl in one, and I went to the NFC Championship in the other. I won football games.
You know who Jimmy Garoppolo is?
I won some football games.
You know who Jimmy Garoppolo is?
Who?
He's the friend who is really cool, really fun until he gets too drunk. But he's going to get too drunk.
Mm-hmm.
That's James Garoppolo. Because those nights that he doesn't get too drunk, oh man, best nights ever.
Right.
But when he does get too drunk, we've got potential. We're going places. And now he's calling the women bitches to their faces.
Or he's throwing up all over the place.
Yeah, not making it to the bathroom and being very discreet about it.
Right.
That's James Garoppolo. I talked up Barstool. Hey, Barstool, man. Hey. Throw us a little cheddar. I want to quit my day job.
Could we have a game here? No. Well, they call holding. That is a hold, too. There's an obvious hold with that. He didn't even have to fucking do it.
You think Sean McVay's out after this year once they start the rebuild?
Oh, my goodness. Yes, bro. He already knows he's got the fat check to sit behind the desk. And this Rams team is done.
Kaput.
And if he leaves, he knows that Matt Stafford's arm is cooked too. Bro, he's out of there. He's like, he's getting tired of having home games where they're road games.
Well, that's been his whole time there at SoFi outside of like opening day. Like his best bet was that COVID year where they didn't have fans in there.
Yes.
You think this Lamar injury matters?
In terms of for his contract?
Yeah.
No, I just think they have such a big body of work at this point to evaluate whether or not they think he's worth what he wants. And if they don't think that he's worth what he wants, I can tell you now, wow, the Rams are so stupid. I can tell you that they call it a personal foul, so now they're out of field goal range. Idiots. They're undisciplined football. But he has such a big body of work to where you can evaluate whether or not you think that he's worth it. And then more so, not because of what he's done too, but what do you think he's going to do? And more importantly, are you going to be able to support a team that you can win with behind him? And if you can't, how can you cash in aside from giving him the franchise tag? What type of compensation do you think you're going to be able to get from someone?
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if they franchise tag him, he's gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he's gone. Like, I think it's such a slap in the face to franchise tag your quarterback. Like, yeah, no, he's out of there. But I think that, look at, like, Dak reset the market.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson's been more productive than Dak, won more games, won an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar deserves to reset the market. And if he doesn't get to reset the market, he gets close to Deshaun Watson. He gets more than Kyler and Russ. Like, I understand. Mm-hmm. No, I don't understand. I don't understand why we accept in the NFL that we don't have fully guaranteed contracts. I understand why they don't do. No, I understand why they don't do it. And if I'm an owner, I don't want to do it either because if you suck in year 2 of 5, I can cut your ass and keep it pushing. I think it's great for sports, but I don't know why the NFL Players Union accepted that. Like, are you serious? Like the NFL, not even the NFL. These pro sports leagues don't work without the best bodies participating.
Mm-hmm.
Collectively bargain for fully guaranteed contracts.
Yep.
Collectively bargain for lifetime health care. Roger Goodell has lifetime health care paid for by the NFL and lifetime use of the NFL's private jet for the rest of his life. Why does he get to walk away with better insurance than the guys who are breaking their bodies for the league? And this guy's making 40 bill a year, and people getting pissed off when Jerry's saying, "Hey, why are we paying this clown so much fucking money? He hadn't owned
Right.
shit."
What did he do to deserve this again?
Bob
He
Kraft,
didn't really.
that's it. Don't.
He's just managing it, I guess. He's not fucking up, but he's also not. We're growing the league, not him.
Yeah. He's just going to these meetings and saying that he's doing this stuff, but I made the phone call to set up the meeting. I introduced him to the execs at Fox. Come on, man. Bob Kraft, don't fuck with me. I wish I could have heard him say that.
I have to imagine the egos that these guys have. Like, because they're like quiet egos in reality, like just in terms of everybody knows they're extremely wealthy, so nobody around them really checks them regardless. But the fact that then when they're around each other, they can kind of check each other. Because they're like, well, look, motherfucker, I made a bill too. What's your point? I own one of the most one of Jerry's kids. I own the most valuable franchise. But like, and you got all these Super Bowls in the last fucking couple fucking years, but I'm still counting more bread than you. He's like, so don't try and tell me anything.
Here's what Jerry say. Look here, Bob. I'm not paying for handies down in Florida. I got the baddest bitches in Texas in my ranch. What are you talking about, man?
Right. They live with me. I don't have to go nowhere. They stay with me. And then I bring them
I know there ain't no foxes in Foxborough, but we got plenty of dimes down in Dallas. Come on, man. Bro, imagine a night out with Jerry Jones and Bob Kraft.
I don't know. The closest person that we can ask about that would probably be Meek Mill, right? Because he's hung out with Bob and Ruben. So he's hung out with the guys, the billionaire owners.
I got a friend from Morehouse who I've actually interviewed on the pod before. He was at one of the Steelers party, or not Steelers, the Patriots Super Bowl parties.
Really?
When they won a Super Bowl in Atlanta. He was at that party.
After the game where the team went.
Yeah, and he was at the bar with Bob Kraft at the same time, and Bob Kraft got him a drink.
Really?
Yes.
It's a unique experience, that's for sure.
Huh?
So that's a unique experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how I would react. I'm not gonna be fanboying over Bob Kraft. I'm gonna Bob Kraft.
Fucking Bob, right? It's fucking Bob.
I mean, do you acknowledge him, or do you be like, Mr. Kraft?
Congratulations on yet another Super Bowl.
Random nigga. One. How you doing?
Right.
Like Meek Mill? Me too. I invited him.
All right. He's right over there.
You don't let you rap.
He's actually going to get one of these too.
Yeah, he's going to wear it on his next Champions album cover.
Well, right, and he fought hard for it. Like, have you heard his music?
Have you been to Philadelphia, where he's from? Did you see his braids back in the day? That's the struggle.
Right.
Yeah, I know Mr. Kraft.
He got this out the mud.
Yeah, Mr. Kraft, can I just want my tequila and I want to go now.
Get him a shot. Be gone, nigga. Like,
Wanna be gone.
right.
Bro, is Space Jam one of the most quotable kids movies ever?
Bro, I tell this story all the time. Yes, but yes, there's so many quotes in there. But I tell it all the time that when I saw Charles Barkley outside of Phillips Arena on right before the Watch the Throne concert, Watch the Throne kicked off in Atlanta, the first tour date. I see Charles Barkley walking with two white women in his arm. Now, Charles is what? Chuck's probably 57, 58 now, maybe 56. So we're talking 10 years ago. No, he might be a little older than that now I think about it. But nonetheless, you see not Shaq, you see Charles walking with these two white women.
59.
And I'm sitting up, I'm pre-gaming at my brother's house not too far from where I am now. And we walked up there, and I kind of got ahead of everybody or whatever. We were all walking, but I just see Charles Barkley. And the first thing, now mind you, I'm doing Bacardi 151, Flaming Hot Dr. Peppers. That's what we were drinking before we went to this concert. And I see this motherfucker, Charles Barkley. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, you're Charles Barkley. And I got to say it just like the fucking movie. So I knew that he knew exactly what the reference was. It wasn't me just saying, you're Charles Barkley. No, motherfucker, I'm playing out the scene right now. Like, you got to get back in acting mode. Right. And he just stared at me like I was just an idiot, which I guess I probably to him, I probably looked like just a drunk ass fucking college kid idiot. But great moment though. Great moment. It set the tone for the night for the best concert I've ever been to.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
West.
I mean, it's just so many quotables from that movie because it's a real fine school.
Right.
It is in the rule book. Give me my powers back.
There will be no more basketball. What else? Gosh, of course. I mean, I know we canceled
Like shit from the X-Files or something.
Right? Yeah. So, something like that can travel. Yeah, he said he's like something. He's like bacteria like that can travel faster than it was some shit he said. Yeah.
I have to come and watch Space Jam this weekend.
Great movie.
Space Jam 2 really sucked.
It did. And we knew it wasn't going to live up to the hype. It wasn't because LeBron was in it. It's just that's one of those movies you probably don't make twice or try to redo.
Space Jam was well written and it felt very real. Bugs Bunny's not relevant anymore. Bugs Bunny was getting an hour on Cartoon Network on every night, and on Saturday, it's on 5-6 hours of Looney Tunes, man. Like,
right, motherfuckers were watching Boomerang. You'd have to watch Boomerang to catch bugs.
Maybe it should have been like Rick and Morty or something, or like Peter Griffin or The Simpsons or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know what cartoons the kids watch these days, but we're way off topic.
It wouldn't have worked now because I don't know if he's as popular, but SpongeBob,
But we can't even imagine SpongeBob hooping.
No, you couldn't. It'd be too stupid.
Like imagine Patrick crossing somebody up, but Mr. Krabs could have been Danny DeVito.
Who's Sandy? Because you're basically your Lola, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be Sandy. Who's
Sandy
gonna
Cheek?
be? Bro, that's some perv shit. Sandy Cheeks.
Oh yeah.
Bikini bottom sandy cheeks. Because bikini bottoms have sandy cheeks when they leave the beach.
Bar.
Ayo, in the words of Boink. Shout outs to Boink. Where do you want to go from here, man? I mean, we got a few more things on here. You want to talk about the last quarter of the NFL season?
Let's go
Oh
ahead
yeah.
and get into.
Hey, the Chiefs got beat by the Bengals again. Uh, Joe Big Balls Burrow again just said, "Hey, Patrick Mahomes, I know you're the best quarterback in the league, but I whoop your ass every time, so I don't know how good you really is." Uh, and it really just, I mean, you think about the hype machine around certain teams, right? Because it's hard to say anything bad about Patrick Mahomes in the media ever, because you're gonna be wrong. But if you look at the infrastructure, you look at the coaching, the Chiefs are running a better system. They have better coaching than the Bengals. But the Bengals, their GM, he got that O line right. He drafted some dogs, and then he drafted dog of the dogs and Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow, that motherfucker bone crushed in the music video.
You mean Joe Shiesty?
What that? Now, Joe Shiesty, he got locked up. Joe
Joe
Shiesty,
Shiesty.
Shiesty, he don't know how to act, but I mean, you know what it might be, because Joe don't know how to act either, bro. It's crazy that Joe Burrow just, okay, Patrick Mahomes, yeah, all right, dog, I'm about to beat you. And it
Set
goes
up
back to what I
commercial.
said a couple weeks. It goes back to what I said a couple weeks ago on here, man. That Chiefs offense don't look the same. I don't care if they score the same amount of points. I don't care if Patrick Mahomes was more efficient. If you can't watch Miami and see what Cheetah adds to a team, then you can and then watch the Chiefs and see what they've lost. I don't think you know how to watch football. Or you're
Well,
Nick
and
Wright,
then
you're a delusional fan.
another part of it is too. Let's look at it this way: the Chiefs have lost 3 games this year, right?
Yeah, one to Matt Ryan.
The Colts kind of being the exception, but it was a must-win game for the Colts early in the season, and which is why if anyone remembers we picked them. It wasn't because of Matt Ryan; just felt like they needed to win that game. But if you look at the other 2 games, they lost to teams that can match them offensively, and that's who they lost to. They lost to the Bills, and they lost to the Bengals. 2 teams that, of course, they will be facing one of them come playoff time, if
Yeah.
not both, depending on if they can get past the first one. They seem to have problems with teams that can match them. Even in that Super Bowl that they did lose, the Bucs that year could match them. The Bucs could score points too, And I'll say this: Chris Jones has been having a monster year for the Chiefs. I mean, he's all pro at defensive tackle. I mean, he's looked fucking great. And the defense seems slightly improved. Like, it seems definitely better than that defense they had last year.
Yeah.
They, when it comes to the teams that can match them, that's where they're going to have troubles, especially come playoff time, because they can't depend on just scoring 27. They've got to score 40. You know what I mean? 38. Like, they've got to get into that range. That's why they beat the Bills last year, because they
And
could
dog,
score 45.
I don't even think it's the number that they score. I think it's they cannot rely on, hey, we sitting Cheetah deep, Patty, fling it. Period. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
just you can't rely on that play, because Miko Hartman, as fast as he is, he ain't that. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's underneath. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, there's a reason why Aaron Rodgers didn't want him there no more. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
the offense isn't the same, and they have to take the cheese. And I'm not gonna say that they can't take the cheese and they won't take the cheese. Sometimes, dog, cheese ain't enough. Sometimes you need a cracker and a little bit of salami on that with a little side of wine on it. You know what I mean? Have a whole charcuterie going. Like, cheese,
Right.
I ain't no rat. I ain't gonna get full off no cheese. Big fella gotta eat something.
Right.
Yay, yay. So At this point in the season, who do you think are the legitimate Super Bowl contenders?
So I think last week or 2 weeks ago, at least, I had put together a group of 5. It was 5 that I had named, and those 5 were the Cowboys, 49ers, Dolphins, Chiefs, and I think I actually said the Ravens over the Bills. So I think in reality, we're going to take the Ravens out of it. We'll throw the Bills back in. So I'll start there. I think the Bills, as they had that rough patch over that 4-week span where they went 2-2 and they didn't look a certain way. They're now, with the Dolphins losing that game, they're back on top. I think the Dolphins are still a contender too. I know that they lost a tough game, especially considering Brock Purdy came in. It was, and then they started the game. They spotted them 7 to start the game. So that would mean that they got outscored 33-10 the rest of the way. I think West Coast game, it was going to be tough. I don't know what quarter Jimmy G got hurt in, but I mean, it's got Baker. But give me Bills, Dolphins. The Chiefs are still contenders too. I won't rule them out. I mean, obviously you have to throw the Bengals in there. And then we'll say Dallas and Philly. Because I knocked the 49ers out because I tell you what, unless Brock Purdy's about to be the second coming of Tom Brady, which he looked pretty good against a good Dolphins defense, I can't put stock into Mr. Irrelevant.
Question, though. Do you think Tampa Bay can get hot and make a run?
No.
Do you think the Vikings –
They came back against a bad team on Monday.
Do you think the Vikings can keep winning games?
Yes, but when it comes postseason, are they going to continue to win those games? And I don't think so.
Yeah, I was trying to argue with what you put out there. And the only reason why I would go with maybe the Bucks can get hot is because I'm afraid to bet against Tom Brady. But nothing that I've watched says that they're a good football team.
Because they're not. They're not a good football team. And they're actually hard to watch. It's kind of crazy how them and the Rams went from the class of the NFC last season
to eyesores.
Yeah, man. Like this game, just peeking back over. Look, the Raiders are talented, certainly on offense, and they've got 2 really good pass rushers. But God, this is so tough to watch. For McVay to be as good of an offensive mind as he's advertised as, I mean, I don't see any creativity even in the fucking play calling more than anything.
Hey, let's be honest about Sean McVay. Sean McVay has always had an above average personnel as a head coach. He's always had above average personnel, and he's done well, and he's gotten the most out of that above average personnel. And now that he's not going to have above average personnel moving forward, he's going to go talk about football because God forbid you got to struggle, you fucking Gen Z ass coach. Yeah, I know you're actually a millennial, but nah, you're Gen Z. Because, I mean, you beat out Calvin Johnson for Georgia High School Player of the Year, or travesty. And now the second your roster is not good, and it's like, hey, McVay, we need you to coach bad players and make them good players.
Man,
it's about that time.
He's resigning so fucking fast, bro. Like, Black Monday, they're going to ask him after the final game on Sunday. That Sunday, they're going to be like, Coach McVay, what does the future hold for you? He's like, well, I'm the coach of the Los Angeles Rams today, and that's exactly how I foresee it being in the future. And then the very next day, USC and Sam Kroenke are going to come out, and a statement's going to be made of saying that Sean has decided to resign because he's burnt out and he wants to reevaluate his life and spend more time with his family.
Hey, bro, he ain't even got no kids yet. He just got married over the summer. You know what I mean? Like, that's the crazy part.
Family, not his kids, his family. Motherfucker wants to spend more time with his wife because he
Said nobody ever.
He can't stand getting prepared for shit like this.
Look here. I know most men love their wives. Love them to death. I don't know many who say, you know what? I'm gonna stop having a day job that takes me away from the house and just be around you all day every day.
Right.
Nobody who wants to stay married says that. And that's not even a knock on her. That's you.
It's like I'm waiting on Baker to throw this pick. But go ahead.
If Baker's so bad at football.
No, he's horrible. I tell you what, it's so crazy how a guy could fall somewhat from grace. I mean, Progressive made him, outside of Flo, he was damn near the second spokesperson.
Yeah.
I'm sure that paid him very well. And I don't know if Progressive is based in Ohio or Cleveland, but the Cleveland Guardians field is Progressive Field. So it's like interesting that it's like, how did he land that? Seriously.
I'm not hooked up to the Bluetooth because I was about to play Denny Green.
The way that motherfucker stuttered, he's like, he's like, the Bears are who we thought they were. They're who we thought they were. Baker's who we thought he was.
Yeah, average. Maybe below.
Yeah, I was about to say, if that. Baker is a fine example of
white guys who can dance shouldn't be your quarterbacks.
Well, just more so one-hit wonder. He got hot kind of that rookie year. I mean, nobody seen him play. I remember I was at the Falcons played him. I went to that game, and he had a day against us, and we really needed to win that game to stay like in the wild card hunt. I think we were like 4-5 or something. It was something. We started bad. We started like 1-4, but then we got to 4-4. It was something, and we really needed to win that.
I remember that game.
Yeah, bro. We really needed to win the game. Chubb had a good game too, but he threw on us, and so he had that hot year. Then next year they do make the playoffs and they win the playoff game, but he wasn't as good. He was okay, terrible.
Think about that. Think about that playoff game. First 3 possessions, the Steelers turned the ball over.
Products of Big Ben.
Well, one was a bad snap over his head.
Yeah, but Ben's the leader, so we blame him.
I mean, yeah, Big Ben wasn't great that day. But you're just like, yeah, Baker got this playoff win for Cleveland, but it's not because of Baker.
And did they spot them 28?
28-21, and then I still think it was like a pretty close-ish game when it was all said and done. Like, you could look back at that score and go, oh, if the center didn't snap it over Ben's head. Because I think the Steelers had like 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
Coach T said he's fucking working. It was hard rooting against Mike Tomlin in person. I'm not going to lie to you.
There's a lot of sentimental in that game, too. I know that Hayward's son caught the touchdown. Obviously, Ironhead Hayward played for the Falcons. And then his brother Cam, obviously, been a leader on that Steelers team for some years now. But it was interesting. It's the type of game that you kind of just knew we were going to lose. But you had optimism because you're like, man, this is like the weakest version of the Steelers that's probably been in the dome
ever.
We only played them twice in the last 16 years here, but this is like the weakest version of the Steelers we could possibly get. But and you would say, what was the crowd like? Would you give me a percentage of Steelers? Was it 65-35?
65 at the lowest.
Wow. So you think it might have been a little bit higher?
It was a Steelers home game. Easy.
Okay. So about as bad as this? This is a Ravens home game.
I mean, there may have been the Cowboys may have had as many fans as we had there. That's a joke. But dog, there's always those random Cowboys fans in all their Cowboys shit. Like, bro, what are you doing here in Cowboy? Take that shit off,
Yeah.
man.
It's just like, motherfucker, you realize Dallas is like 850 miles that way, right?
Yeah, bro, it's a 10-hour drive from here. Leaf. Or don't
All
worry
you got to
that.
do is hop 20 West. You don't even have to get off. He'll lead you straight there.
I've made that trip before.
Yeah, same.
It's great.
I haven't driven it at all, but I've made the trip.
Oh, I drove it.
Stopped in New Orleans though.
Huh?
Kind of cuts it in half a little. Stopping in New Orleans.
So I didn't even stop in New Orleans because you got to go south to hit New Orleans. You can avoid New Orleans. You go straight to the silk. And like the parts of Louisiana that people don't talk about. I guess like where where Louisiana Lafayette's at, like them areas.
Yeah. Southeastern Louisiana.
Yeah. Look, so we're at 2 hours. Let's talk a little US soccer. We gotta go to US soccer. We gotta talk some Herschel. We gotta talk some basketball too. Where do you want to go next?
We can hit the soccer. Because it shouldn't take very long, huh? It's not much to talk
No,
about except for our country falling again, which we kind of knew was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen.
Hey, US soccer fans, I'm going to start this off with something very nice. Fuck you. All right. United States have said fuck soccer forever. And then all of a sudden the World Cup happens and I'm supposed to care about the World Cup and I'm supposed to care about us winning. Oh no, I can't we can't even unite as Americans over the World Cup team because people are like, you don't even like soccer. You don't know about soccer. Bro, I'm not rooting for soccer. I'm rooting for America. And then there was an article in the Atlantic apparently that said, I think rooting for countries is like overrated and like that's like no longer a thing. Hey, dude, take your article and shove it, okay? Period. But back to the United States. Huh?
I said, it's like, how is that not a thing? I mean, literally, beer commercials, everything unites around it. You go to your bank, they're selling fucking debit cards. They're like, you can get a USA debit card with a fucking soccer ball on it. Like,
what I look like waking up to root for Senegal. I ain't seen none of them gals there. But no, like, so I'm not gonna care about USA soccer until USA cares about USA soccer. Because I look at soccer in the same vein that I look at golf, that I look at tennis, that I look at now American baseball. America picks and chooses the sports that they want certain athletes to participate in. And if you didn't think I was going to make it racy, I'm going to. Because I promise you, there is a Division I point guard who could be an international soccer star. But nobody put a ball at his foot. And it feels like we want to preserve certain sports, right? Because back when black people lived in the country, we played football, we played baseball, we played basketball, right? Because we had space, and we didn't really play soccer because it wasn't an American sport like that.
I didn't even fucking ran track.
Exactly, right.
You know?
But then once we gentrified the country and moved niggas to the city, well, ain't no space to play baseball in the city. Hardly any space to play football, but I mean, people want to play football, so they find a way and they make a way. Shout out to Clark Atlanta University. And then basketball, oh, that's easy. But if you want to make the soccer program, American soccer, what everything else in America is top tier, you'll bring it to the hood. You'll bring it to your best athletes. You will make soccer marketable. It's almost like what the WNBA needs to do. Put more money into it to actually make it better. You know, if you get a hoopty, that hoopty can't turn into like a Pimp My Ride car if you don't put money into it. Same thing with American soccer, bro. You got to put money into it. And you got to sell it in a way that guys would want to leave their poverty. Like it's dudes who will rather start for 3 years varsity, go play D3, and then be a pickup legend in their hometown, and then instead of going and playing soccer. And I played varsity soccer for 3 years in high school, and I mean, we played in playoff soccer games, so we weren't just hot trash. And when I tell you I was the best athlete on the pitch way too many times than I should have been, whereas I never felt like on the basketball court or the football field, I was the best athlete on out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, shit, because I never felt like I was the best athlete on my team. And if you know me, I'm pretty athletic. I'm bouncy, I'm springy. But in soccer, I'd be like, bro, like in soccer, I'm like, oh, I can push y'all around, outrun y'all, and out jump y'all. I could never on the football field. I might out jump people, but I'm not outrunning everybody, and I'm definitely not out physical them. Basketball court, I can jump with the other 5'11ers, the 6'1ers. I can't jump with the 6'5ers.
Right.
I can't bang with the offensive lineman who playing post. I can't out physical him, and I can't outrun them little skinny ass point guards who can't even dribble. They just so fast that you can't rip them.
Can you out flop the guys in soccer though?
I wasn't a flopper when I played soccer, man. I was bringing a
Think about physically when you're fighting over the ball and like your arms might get tangled. I'm just saying, how guys in soccer are just
dog. Yes, and it was super. It was frustrating, but also rewarding because when you find you a flopper, but you're also a coordinated athlete, so you can time your punishment with making a play on the ball and actually touching the ball. And he gets up, ref, what the fuck? Come on, you got, bro. I took the ball and I kicked it. Sorry, I gave you a little at the end. You know what I mean?
It's a physical sport,
right? But when you look, but like being out there, you go. There's a lot of niggas out here who ain't never lifted weights in their life. A lot of bird chest out here, and that's what America does for soccer. That's American soccer. I'm just gonna be honest with you, like, so why should we just all of a sudden care about American soccer when the American soccer like pipeline does not care about making the best athletes available for soccer? Imagine Russell Westbrook being a striker for the US national team. We can't say the money's not there because huh?
Or even a goalkeeper.
Or imagine like a AD. Nah, they're giving it to him, yeah. Imagine somebody like AD, somebody who's 6'10", but hit the growth spurt at like 17, who is a freak athlete in the pipes. You know what I mean?
I guess he got it. I'm sorry. I
know. Yeah, I don't think he got it either. But imagine AD being a goalie. Because the money's there.
Wow.
Like the Soccer Max contract is there.
Yeah, because it fits at least in MLS, what it pays. And of course, guys like Messi, they don't really ever disclose exactly what their contracts are.
Well, they don't really disclose any of the contracts. They say what the contract could be at its maximum, and there's always little kickers and stuff in there that the public doesn't get.
Like if you type in Messi contract, it doesn't really tell you. I mean, it says that PSG, when they got him, they can't even confirm it. It just says it's a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option. But sportingnews.com gives it $41 million annually net salary. But anywhere else, ESPN doesn't have nothing. And then we know about what their transfer fee is whenever somebody wants to take them away, which according to this, when I type that in, it's funny because that's a recent story that Messi's 30.
Nah, he older than that, ain't he?
Oh,
He can't be coming to Atlanta that young. America.
45. All right. I don't know why it says 30. It says, see, and this is the other stuff.
I just think, like the underside, these little point guards, bro, go play soccer. Your 5'9" ass ain't going to the league, but you can go to MLS. And when soccer starts actually trying to recruit those athletes, here's what my high school soccer coach did, right? He talked to football players who didn't want to run track. Because who actually wants to run track? Not me.
It was kind of something that I was made do just because of basketball, right? They kind of made you, if you weren't a baseball player or if you weren't doing a spring sport, you need to be running track. It's the same thing with if you didn't play football, they're like, well, you're running cross country.
So, yeah, we were on the same shit. Like, hey, yo, if you ain't doing a spring sport, track. And he asked me, he was, because one day I was just bitching about, bro, I ain't trying to run track. Because personally, I think track is the most niggerish sport ever. Hey, monkey run, monkey jump, monkey throw. Like, it just really gives me slave vibes.
Is it because it's almost like a combine of a sport?
Yeah, and there is technique to track, but it's not like nothing in track's really skilled. It's really like, hey, you physical specimens, go be physical specimens.
Right.
So I just didn't really want to run track, and I played baseball forever, but our baseball team, man, they were doing stuff year round, and my 8th grade year was like my worst year of baseball in my life. Like, coach changed my swing. I wasn't making contact regularly. And I'm like, yo, I'm not playing up to my level, but I don't have time to practice enough to work through this. So yeah, guy coach Philly, shout out to Tyler Philly. Why don't you play soccer? I'm like, bro, I've never played soccer in my life. He goes, you're an athlete. You can kick a ball. You can run, jump, kick a ball. Like, I'll teach you what you need to know. And like, honestly, my first year was, if the ball comes to you, kick. I played defense. Kick it as far as you can towards our goal, or just kick it out of bounds. When I ask you to dribble, when I ask you to make passes, and then like as my skills like built up, okay, you can do more. You can do more. And as a defender, I did score a goal. Scored a varsity goal. I played defense. And when we had corner kicks, I came down for the corner kicks because I had about 35-inch vertical in high school. Last time I measured it, so I could jump up there, and I was getting some head, getting some head.
I think give it a nice little tap.
Yeah, nice little tap. But until America actually takes a concerted effort to get the best athletes involved in soccer, we won't dominate soccer. And this arrogance that we have in other sports. Yeah, we kick ass in basketball because we got the best niggas playing. That's why we allowed the pros to start playing instead of just making it an amateur thing. And then when Larry Brown was out there losing, and y'all had all these pieces that didn't fit who just showed up to training camp and said, hey, we're gonna go beat all these other national teams. Hey, nah, we gotta build a national team actually who plays together and they work out together and we do stuff each summer. Yeah. Same thing with soccer, dog. You should have Russell Westbrook, like a Tutu Atwell. He's a trash ass receiver for the Rams right now, but he's fast as fuck, man. Put a soccer ball at his feet.
So we make his brother.
I bet Christian Pulisic don't run 4.2. I bet he don't run 4.3.
No. He probably doesn't. But
bro, just think about this. Imagine Messi thinking he gonna like get crazy. He got like a Jalen Ramsey checking him. Somebody who ain't as quick as him, but is just as fast as he is. But even then,
if you grow up and you're training on it, like that footwork could come too. I mean, it'll come. Like the quickness of like the footwork will come to where you can be faking motherfuckers out too.
Exactly. Like a lot of these corners, bro, you go play corner at Boise State, you should be auditioning for the U.S. national team. Hey, bro, you're not going to the league. You're not Orlando Kendrick. Bro, Orlando Kendrick, he turned Boise State into a kid with drill.
Talk about a good call on his end, though, right?
You talk about nothing to something. All right, man. I'm done with that. Speaking of Dre, she's a basketball wife, and apparently Chris Paul might be losing his basketball wife because. Hey guys, we're a week late. Sorry, we recorded last Wednesday, and a lot of shit happened between now and then, and we do a once a week show. Yeah. I know it's not cool to talk about Chris Paul and Kim K together, but the real question is,
Well,
do you
they
think
got to stop.
I think Kanye was lying about discovering Kim Kardashian, his ex-wife, or probably wife at the time, in the bed with Christopher Paul.
No, I don't believe that he was lying at all because, for one, what does he have to lie about at this point, especially with all of his truths coming out anyways? You know, I mean, unless Kanye's losing sight too and he doesn't, know what he sees anymore. Plus, it just seems so realistic. And then I'm not going to talk about that man's wife, but they put up a picture of Chris Paul with his wife. Somebody did. It was like a picture of Chris Paul with his wife and then Kim K, and they were like in the same frame. Not together, of course, but like two different photos. And they're like, hell yeah, he fucking cheated on his wife with Kim K.
Bro, why do people try to make cheating always the physical thing? How come how come it can't be because the nigga just wants some different pussy?
That or, maybe she is hotter. I don't know. But then at that point, then he's got to kick himself in the ass for just marrying her. If it was really about that, then you're just kicking yourself in the ass. But I have to imagine guys like him and LeBron, these guys that have probably been in relationships for, gosh, I don't know.
Damn near 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, for Bron, it's high school, but Chris Paul, I'm sure, could have been some chick he met at Wake Forest, or maybe as soon as he got into the league. I don't know. But still, look at that. This is a disciplined football team, Lee. You notice what the Rams didn't do? They didn't run into the fucking kicker. You know why? Because the game was over if they did. Unlike our undisciplined ass Falcons, what they did against the Commanders, after we already fucked up, we run into the goddamn kicker and just give them the game. That's disciplined football. Now see how disciplined Baker is in a 2 minute.
To do what Falcons do. Look at that.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. But bigger picture here is, they say a man's not supposed to speak on certain things, right? But can are you violating man code? Are you crossing the line if you're speaking on somebody fucking on your wife and you put it out there in the public, even though that man has a wife and he's sitting at home eating his Cheerios, watching Cliff Paul commercials?
I think it's fucked up, yeah, for sure. Because it's nobody else's business except for them that were there. But at the same time, it's an all around. If in fact it did happen, which I do believe it did, it's an all around fucked up situation.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Involved, because Kim would know that he is married, I'm sure, and vice versa. And then Kanye, of course, is just kind of the one that's ass out. If Baker leads them down the field, by the way, I'm sorry, just because we're catching this in live time. If Baker leads them down the field and they score a touchdown, what do you make of that? Do you make of it that the Raiders don't?
He gets $7 million next year instead of $3 million.
Okay, and you think he stays there?
He threw a pick. It's coming back, but he threw a pick. So here's what I want to say about this right here, right? Because as much as everybody wants to say, yeah, Kanye was wrong for saying that, if this happened while they were married, if you are gonna say that I'm worse for exposing that you violated your marriage to violate my marriage, and I'm just over here chilling, and I caught you, and I'm the bad guy. Hey, society, toxic masculinity. Yeah, yeah, suck my dick, bro.
Right.
Because if I want to go scorch earth on you because you scorched my own earth, sorry, I'm a victim. Since we live in America where where we say we can't tell victims how to grieve, right? I'm a victim and I'm grieving. I caught this man who has less money than me, who is less successful in his career than me, who's shorter than me, diving on my wife. I caught him. Not like I read some text messages, not I saw him out, not somebody sent me a screenshot. No, no, no. I caught him in bed, according to his tweet. So he gets to fuck up my home and I can't fuck up his home. And man, get out of here.
Right.
I'm scorching earth. I'm scorching the earth. Give me the chopper. You know what I mean? Like, nah, bro. I'm blowing this thing up, dog. Bro, we got 3-4 kids together. We got assets and stuff. Nah, see, because me and my wife, we are moguls. We came. Oh yeah, cuss him out, McDaniel. He said that's bullshit. They caught it on TV. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, boy. I'm not even mad at Kanye West for that. But here's what I will say, and here I remember now why I said, "Can you separate art from artists?"
Yeah.
Because people, like, you got the text in the group. So do you stand with Kanye on this? And you're like, nigga, I like his music. And then I go,
I agree with, and that I don't agree with. That doesn't mean I just take his side just because I like his music. Like,
right, and I know that.
Yeah,
And then it's not Baker's. It's cooking right now. And
hey, you want to know what's going to happen? They gonna end up going to Denver.
hey, look here, we're gonna come back for this conversation, but we're gonna talk through the end of this game right now because I know we're not gonna have a real conversation. We'll have to watch the game.
It's only tough. Yeah, just we're talking last minute Baker Mayfield first game.
Because Baker Mayfield is looking the best that he's looked in 3 years right now.
No timeouts. Definitely the best 2-minute drive, even though he did throw a pick. I mean, they can say.
But dog, he learned his offense yesterday.
Well, that's what's making it impressive.
And he
said,
God,
fuck this bitch.
Okay, we got your spike. There we go. Come on, Bake. Y'all niggas taking y'all time, boy.
Yeah, because they're making it to where they're only going to get about 3-4 plays tops.
Yeah. Bro, if Baker wins this game, if Baker wins this game, I can't wait to watch Skip Bayless tomorrow.
Oof, but who do you? And imagine this: if they didn't get as good of a punt as they got, I mean, he'd be closer, to scoring.
Yeah,
but they just took it from the 2-yard line. But you know what? We know how bad the Raiders' defense is. This is a bad defense, but it's an even worse.
We need a sack. Come on, look at Bake. 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 He just got him a deal.
Well, hold on now. We know niggas miss extra points. I'm not trying to be funny, but wow.
Baker Mayfield just got him a deal. Hey, yo, Big Velvet are having roid rage right now, ain't he?
He looks like it. Why is Matt Statler fucking clapping and shit? He's like good. He's like,
he signed that extension, so he know that if I want to come back, what I'm gonna get paid. I gotta see what Skip Bayless is tweeting right now because I know, boy, he gonna be on Shannon ass tomorrow, and I don't even like that show like that, but I gotta watch it for this. Ben Simmons is trending, by the way, on Twitter.
Hey, this Nick motherfuckers are texting me right now about this shit.
This game. Hold on. I know Skip
Yeah,
ain't sleep
Jay
this
Briggs
early.
just Jay Briggs just texted me. He said, "Bro,
As Skip Bayless
I,
tweeted, Baker Mayfield is spectacular trash, and that nigga may have put 100 H's in that shit.
he just tweeted that."
Yes, like 24 seconds ago. All right, bro. The
I mean,
Rams just won. I mean, we got 10 seconds left before ASAP Rocky performs some shit we don't care about.
Justice just said in the group, he said, kind of crazy how Tyler Higbee went from tight end to O-lineman. Because he has him in his fantasy, too.
McDaniels low key should be fired. This is not fireable for McDaniels.
I mean, the D coordinator might really have to reevaluate if he's going to be there, though. Because they're already not, they were never, even if they, I doubt that they were going to win out, but they weren't going to playoffs.
I'll tell you what, Justice is a hot take artist. And I think he believes his hot takes. This has to be the most embarrassing loss for any coach all year. Baker just got there a day ago.
Lost so many games. They've lost so many games like this, though, all season.
Bro, the
That's why when
Rams
they
were on
because they lose these type of games. They've been losing these games all year.
Baker just got himself a contract off this game. He's going to compete for a starting job next year.
You know what's crazy? The Rams, like 3 of their last 4 games are all prime time. They play on like Christmas Day. Let me see. So they play.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be good.
Yeah, they play. So next week they play on. I guess this is either Saturday or Sunday night. It's Saturday night. No, it's Monday night. They play at Green Bay on Monday night next, and then they play on Christmas Day on the 25th, and then they play at the Chargers, the LA game. I'm guessing this game must be getting flexed, though. This game's going to get flexed.
Derek Carr threw a pick, game over. Who they want? Flip. Hey, what were we talking about before this?
Kanye and his wife getting her back broken into.
Oh, yeah. So this goes into separating art from artists, right? Because people want Kanye West fans to like stand on everything that Kanye said. Baker, stop headbutting people out your helmet on, son. You're going to have CTE. And then that took me to Kanye praising Hitler. And I don't want to talk about Kanye praising Hitler because this is a lose-lose situation when you talk about Hitler in this country. And that may be the problem, right? I do not support what Hitler did to the Jews. Period. But just because Hitler did some old fucked up ass shit, can somebody not look at what he did and say that there's something positive that you can learn from that? And I mean, and then you had like the counter argument to, oh, so y'all mad at Kanye for praising Hitler, but y'all praise all these founding fathers who owned slaves. What's the difference? I'm not trying to get into that conversation here. But at the same time, no, I'm going to say, but I'm not trying to get into that conversation here at all. I'm not trying to. But it really takes me to, can we separate art from artists? Can we have a nuanced approach to somebody and say that, hey, Barack Obama did a great thing by becoming the first black president, but it was pretty shitty. How many drone strikes that he sanctioned where innocent people died? Can both be true? Or is the era that we live in that if you support one thing that somebody did, you have to support everything that they did? Like it confuses the hell out of me.
That's kind of the way that everybody's trying to make this stuff out to be.
And like I think I said this. What I said in pre-production is, we do this show every week and we hang out damn near every other weekend. And there are things that you do that I'm not going to co-sign. There are things that I do that you're not going to co-sign. And we're really good fucking friends. And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Like,
Because we can separate. Oh, this
like,
is
hey, bro,
who this is.
it's like, hey, bro, yeah, that's what.
I don't agree with it because we're supposed to be fucking robots and disagree with everything that we do. I mean, that's what makes us who we are.
But we're moving to a place to where you got to be a robot. Like, there's no nuance, there's no personality. We don't get to know people. We just judge them based off of like one thing. Oh, he doesn't have BLM in his profile. You know what? He's a bad person. He doesn't care about Black Lives Matter. And then you ask him, hey, why is BLM not in your profile? Well, because Black Lives Matter is a scam.
Why didn't you post the black box on Instagram that day?
Hey, did you post that black box that day?
No.
Me neither. For what?
It doesn't mean. I mean, I am fucking black. What the fuck?
I'm just looking at like everything that's in front of me. I'm on a Mac computer. I got 2 Mac computers in front of me. I have on a polo shirt, a suit from a company that I'm not gonna say, but they're not black owned. Glasses, Jamie Foxx's company, by the way.
Oh,
But guess what? I support what makes sense for me when it makes sense for me. And that doesn't necessarily mean I buy what makes the most financial sense because I support local business. But if you give me bad business and you're local, bro, I'm going to Walmart. Because that shit don't work, I can take it back and get a refund. Economies of scale. Like, I know we're going back to what we were talking about earlier with some of the prime stuff and some of the issues in Black America. But niggas be forgetting about economies of scale and why that makes sense. Stop asking poor people to spend more money for stuff that like they can barely afford. Nah, dog, they're not gonna support your black business. They're poor. You're not. You're a business owner. You took the risk. They didn't. Suck sometimes.
everybody, they don't have an understanding of it. I mean, even look at this 2 Chainz, right? Doing this Amazon music, and what has appeared most Thursday nights been hip hop acts, right?
Yeah.
What should they not do it because this isn't a black network? I mean,
What if 2 Chainz don't want to be responsible if somebody breaks FCC regulations? He just want to get his money.
why can't we
Is that
all just
wrong?
work?
And I think we should all work together, but I also think that in Black America, we should find a way to own our own, but
Absolutely.
but still make it a part of the ecosystem. And I mean, you
Well,
run a black owned
and
business,
people
right?
should support black shit, right? Like, you know, why can't and this is what I will say for Whitlock, because white people's money spends just like black people's money. That's why Morehouse will take a donation from fucking the Cathys from Chick-fil-A. If Chick-fil-A donated money, which they did, now granted, he's also on the board, right? But
Well, shit, Bank of America, one of our most important buildings on that campus, ain't named after no alum. It's named after a bank.
yeah. Yeah.
But even to that, think about this. Morehouse has some Morehouse has a line that they won't cross, right? Because that the Cosby building on Spelman was supposed to come to Morehouse. Morehouse said because they wanted his wife's name on there. Morehouse said, "Nah, bro, no women's names. It's either Bill Cosby, Ennis Cosby who went here, or no Cosby. No Cosby, bro." I ain't saying that's what I would do, but Morehouse stood on something. Yo,
It's
Carissa
a principle.
Thompson, she got it, bro.
I actually like her suit too. Her suit's
Yeah,
fly as fuck.
yeah, nah, like yeah, she dripped the fuck up. I don't really like that Fitzpatrick and Tony G got the same shoes on. I think that's kind of trash, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But nah, but you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And hey,
And that's what
black
people.
people, huh?
No, go ahead. I was gonna segue, but
Don't
go.
say, hey, black people, we all don't stand for the same thing. Everybody ain't here to liberate the rest of y'all, because some of us say, hey, man, I don't want no dead weight around me.
Which you got to get two different black perspectives in the Georgia runoff with Herschel Walker and Reverend Raphael Warnock.
Morehouse alum. And I think that's a prime example of we have to stop consolidating the needs of black people into one agenda. Because you got Herschel Walker representing a different side of black America than Raphael Warnock. And I want to be very clear that both of those individuals, I'm not speaking to them as a politician. I'm speaking to what they represented. Both of those guys represented legitimate sides of Black America, but they were totally opposed to each other. Because guess what? Josh Holsey, one of my best friends, he and I are so far like away from each other politically because I think Josh is a fucking walking liberal spokesperson. Like, I think the libs paid Josh Holsey to put stuff into our group text. And I read some of that stuff and I go, yeah, dog, I live in the South. Miss me with that California bullshit.
Right.
But I don't hate Josh because of that. And I don't think Josh is less black because of what he consumes. And I know Josh doesn't think I'm less black because of what I consume, what I believe. It's just like, hey, dog, we disagree politically.
This is how we grew up, and this is how we view these issues and how they should be handled and what's best for our communities. And look, in some way, in one way or another, this is why bipartisanship is beautiful. There can be a common ground, and both ideas can work uh, next to each other. And
Exactly.
there be a way where we give up a little to give this, and then we do create what can be, the best possible way for our society to move forward.
Exactly. But I think we're moving to a place in society where there's no
And then
nuance.
we can revisit it 4 years later if it doesn't work. Right?
Isn't that what politics? Isn't that what politics is supposed to be? It's supposed to be like we try things that we think works based on what the people are telling us and what we think is best, and if it doesn't, we try something else when we get a chance to change it. That's what I think. But Herschel ran out of votes, and I'm really happy that he ran out of votes. Now, I did not vote for Brian Kemp. I'll be honest with you all. But I'm not mad that Brian Kemp is our governor. I don't think Stacey Abrams best represented Georgia, but she best represented my interest in legalizing gambling, sports gambling. She that was on her list of things, and I gamble on sports, so I would love to be able to hop on the FanDuel and throw in a bet and then cash out as soon as the day's over.
Baker Mayfield to drive down the field at plus probably fucking 1,000 from the two.
Yeah, because here's what people don't understand. Like, some bets are easy to do on the other websites, right? The offshore sites where you can actually bet. But live betting is where you take the hit when you can't legally bet in your state.
Mm-hmm.
And live betting is where a lot of gamblers make their money because you're sitting there. Like, when they get the ball on the 2-yard line, what is it to put 20, 50, $100 on Baker to score a touchdown? Especially if you got your ass kicked tonight. It's like, hey, you know what? Let's just throw a shot in the dark and see what we get.
Or let's say that you're somebody that parlayed the game and you said, you know what, I got Raiders money line in the under. I've hit the under no matter what happens on this drive. Even if the Rams score a touchdown and they miss the extra point and the Raiders go down and score a touchdown, it cannot go over. So I've already hit one part of it. They're offering me a cash out. But you know what? I don't want the cash out. These are really good odds for the Rams to score. And gosh, wouldn't this be made for TV, Hollywood ending? For Baker Mayfield to have probably seen his fucking jersey for the first time today. You know, his actual game jersey today was the first day he saw it. I mean, hell, he just got there. Was it Tuesday or Monday? He cleared waivers Monday. Monday at 4:00 is when he knew he was going to LA. So that would mean as soon as he cleared waivers, he hopped on a plane from, I'm going to assume, Charlotte, and went from Charlotte to Los Angeles to sign. Well, he didn't have to sign paperwork. I don't know how that works, but regardless, he got to get acclimated, meet the coach, get a playbook. They probably digitally sent him the playbook. He was already reading it apparently on the way there. Got to meet everybody. He got to practice with them Tuesday for the first time. The game is on Thursday, so technically yesterday was a walkthrough. And then he did start today, but he was taking snaps. You know, we saw him before the game. He was taking snaps. And, 48 hours of practice. That is insane against a pro football team, bro. That is insane. That is insane. It's a good story. I think Patrick Mahomes said, wow, and just starts laughing. Probably because he's probably like, bro, he's like, the Raiders are so trash. He's like, I don't even understand.
Bro, why? I'm trying to figure out why they're showing me Jerry Judy's tweet, bro. Jerry Judy is a name from Alabama. He's not an NFL guy.
That's Baker, Trayvon Diggs.
Well, no, that's different. That's different. He's all pro. Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. Fucking Bezos put a team together on this post game. For it's Amazon, he has a team.
Well, it's nothing but players. Players.
I know, but he has like good players in Carissa Thompson.
Well, which is a good choice to be the moderator.
A very good choice. I take my glasses off and I can still see what I like to see.
Yeah.
These are jokes.
It's a good call.
Question. You ready to give us some picks, man?
I am. They're already locked and loaded. One second. Let me pull it up. Because think about it. We have no college football.
You did a terrible job of. We did not make it to basketball, by the way.
We didn't even touch the college football playoffs.
Hey, let's hit the picks. Hey, can you ramble for like 3 minutes while I go take a piss?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, like big up your picks while I go pee, and you actually start. No,
they're already up here. Yeah, you set the tone, and I'll go through it and I'll explain them.
Hey, Parlay Pete, go ahead and give your picks, explain them, and then like when I come back, just say them one time again so I can write them down for the actual description type stuff. And I'll be right back.
That sounds good.
Let me see.
Leak. All right, we're back here, week 15. Or is it week 15? Week 14 of the NFL season for our picks. We've got a pretty solid slate this week. I'd like to think there's a lot of different things on here to where we pretty much got a better understanding of what's going on. We went 3-2-1 last week, I believe. But let's get it kicked off with the first game. We're going to start with the Sunday nighter. We've got the Miami Dolphins at the Los Angeles Chargers. I like over 52.5. The Dolphins are a team that typically can put up points, and obviously the Chargers are a team that puts up points. Not to mention the Chargers' defense fucking blows. So over 52.5, kind of steep for what the NFL has been this year, which a lot of games have been under. I would say that more games have been under this year than over, but I like the over here. I just see the points coming, and we've got two guys that have got weapons, and I just see it going over 52.5. Next game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. This is the first time that they're meeting this year after both of them getting off to, I think, the best starts in the NFL. Obviously, with Philly, I think they were 7-0 at one point, and then the Giants were 6-1. The Giants have since cooled down. and just coming off of a tie last week with the Commanders, while Philly kind of got probably their most impressive win at home this year in a sense of they beat and blew out a really good playoff team with the best running back in the NFL. With that being said, I like the New York Football Giants to cover the 7. We're going to buy a half a point because I don't like pushes. So we're going to take the New York Giants plus 7.5. I think that they're going to play them very hard, and I think that they're going to try and run the ball on them because they saw the Commanders do it, and that is how you beat the Eagles. Next, we got the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Call me crazy, but I like the Baltimore Ravens. I think that Tyler Huntley's a phenomenal backup, and I think that even last year when he replaced Lamar, he showed us that he could get these type of games done. Rivalry game should be a big fucking deal, but give me the Baltimore Ravens on the money line. Next, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. There has been one Denver Broncos game this season that's went over, and it was against that same Raiders defense that we just saw Baker Mayfield run through. I don't expect the Chiefs to throw up a ton of points, but the Broncos aren't either. Under 44 is a good call here. So give me under 44 in the Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. Bounce back game is prime here. For the Titans, that is. I know they both got blown out on Sunday, but we're going to take the Titans minus 3.5. It only makes sense. They're at home. I think they actually clinched the division with this win too, because I think the Colts have lost like 2 in a row, and they were the only team that could really catch them, and they already had beaten them twice. So I think that it's like officially over if the Titans win on Sunday. So I like a convincing win, so I'd lay the 3.5 there. And then the final game, probably what will be considered kind of the game of the week. Certainly Fox is going to throw it as the game of the week. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the San Francisco 49ers. Under 37.5. I've got to go with it because the 49ers shouldn't really put up points. I know that they did on short notice with Brock Purdy, but Tampa does have a solid defense still at the end of the day. And Tom is not going to light up the 49ers defense. I love the under here at under 37.5 because I just don't see the points coming from either side. This game has, 17-14, 17-13 written all over it. And that would be the last pick of the 6-pack. So I'm going to run through them one more time for good old AC Lee here. In the first game, we've got over 52.5 Miami Dolphins at LA Chargers. In the second game, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. We're going to take the Giants plus 7.5. In the next game, we've got the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to go Baltimore money line as a dog here. I really like Tyler Huntley for whatever. I just do. Plus, they really have got to win because I think the Bengals are going to win on Sunday. Next, we got Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos under 44 for obvious reasons. The Broncos cannot score. Then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. I like the Titans minus 3.5. And then finally, like you caught here at the end, Tampa Bay at the San Francisco 49 under 37.5.
All right, so as I sit here feeling like David Ruffin, let me make sure I got you right. We got over 52.5 points in the Dolphins-Chargers game.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Giants plus 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Ravens on the money line.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Chiefs and Broncos under 44.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Titans minus 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
And we got that Tampa Bay in that 49ers game going under 37.5.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man, that's beautiful. You like it. I love it, man. Let's talk about Lee's 3.
Lee's 3. Lee's 3. Lee's 3. Lee's 3.
And let me tell you, all that time I was supposed to put into ad libs today, I did. Man,
You did. Come on, man.
You're
You're busy supporting the kids, all right, and the community as a whole. So
trying to, man. So we got Ravens on the money line. You like it? I love it.
You big fan of Tyler Huntley too?
Huh?
You a big fan of Tyler Huntley too?
I watched him last year. I'm confident that from a week or two he can do what he's supposed to do. And I watched the 49ers, excuse me, not the 49ers. I watched the Steelers play last week, and they're not good. We're just not good either.
Yeah. Hey, Falcons
I
win
like
this
that
week.
Chiefs.
We don't
I like
lose.
that Chiefs and Broncos under
Okay.
because where the fuck do the points come from? Even if the Chiefs go crazy, where do
Chiefs
the points come
at most get 27, maybe even 31. Let's say they get to 31. I mean, does Denver really get past 13? That's about what they're averaging.
I'm comfortable betting against it. Then I'm gonna go Titans minus 3.5 because they got embarrassed last week. Their GM got fired, and I think Vrabel's gonna have those boys ready to play.
You know why the GM actually got fired?
Because he traded AJ Brown after Vrabel came out and said they wouldn't trade AJ Brown. And AJ Brown came in there and just fucked them up. And here's also what I heard.
Such a big day against them. They're just like, you idiot. Like,
Here's what I also heard though is like the GM is kind of responsible for what goes on the plane, and after that, and like you can't drink on NFL planes. And then that the OC got the DUI, and it's like, hey man, what kind of program are you running here? And it's like, well, who are we gonna get rid of? You or Vrabel? Vrabel can coach.
All right, we've been winning games since he got here.
Right.
Hell, we sent Tom Brady packing.
Yeah, man. So that's leaves 3. Man, before we get out of here, because you did want to talk a little basketball, and we got some time. The Celtics are the best team in the league, and I think we don't want to believe and accept it because they have not won a ring yet. And the way that like the NBA works is that we don't want to give a team their props if they haven't won a ring yet, or if we don't accept their best players being one of the guys. But Jason Tatum is one of them. I mean, he is one of them, and he's at that age now where he's actually one of them. He's proven it.
Right? 4
And he's,
or 3.
but he's also like the size, right? Because I have this whole thing is you don't win championships if you don't have somebody in your team that's like 6'6", who can 6'6" or taller, who can dribble and get buckets.
Dribble, get buckets, and can pretty much defend any player on your team.
Right. Like as good as Giannis is, I think Giannis is great. I don't love him. Let me not tell that lie. But Giannis needs Chris Middleton when they're down 3 to shoot a 3 to win the game. Like you need that guy on your team to win a championship. Jason Tatum is 6'8". Jason Tatum is 6'8". There's not a place on the court that he can't shoot from. And he's gained his grown man weight. He's like 25 now, or he looks 25. And he plays 25. He plays like he drinks beer. I'm not saying that he drinks beer, but you know what I mean? You know, when you start drinking beer, you just start gaining weight in places that you can't see. Yeah. But you're just a heavier human. And right. he has that weight to him now. So I think the Celtics are real. I think they're the best team in the NBA. And you're not going to like this, but I think that their cross-country rivals are going to be contenders.
I disagree wholeheartedly with that. Unless the Lakers make some sort of a trade that,
Bulls are going to tank either Levine or DeRozan's going to become available.
And they would be taking on Russ, of course, because that would be the only way the money works.
Yep.
I don't think it'll be Levine. It would be DeRozan, if anything. And only because he's older, and then they just paid Levine. They just gave him his contract, right? So
Yep.
Meanwhile, I think DeRozan might be on the last year because what is this? This is year. This is year 2.
Year 2.
His deal, yeah, it's a 3-year deal. This is year 2, and so maybe that could be the case. Indiana's competitive. At first, everybody thought it would be Buddy and fucking Turner, and then of course the Lakers probably throw in a pick and some pieces too, just to compensate it because you are getting 2 guys that are starters. But we'll see. We'll see. I think that the West is wide open so far because we're about a quarter of the way through. We're more than a quarter, actually. Most teams have played about 20. What would that be? It would be technically between 19 and 20 games would be a quarter of the season. So we're a quarter of the way through the season. But the one thing that we can all agree on is that the Celtics are the best team and that Milwaukee seems to be the only team that could be even remotely poised to kind of stop them from not running it back in the East. The Suns aren't for real, and it's not because of how bad they looked yesterday. I just have never really been a believer in them. I got to see when the Mavericks played them, the last time those 2 teams played in the regular season, they had just played not too long ago, and they did exactly what they did to them in the fucking playoffs in Game 7. So I'm just like, okay, so they haven't learned their lesson yet. When they play a team that's more physical than them, they're bitched up, and Chris Paul, his Achilles or his fucking, he gets tendonitis or something, and then it's over for him. And then Booker, he's so prissy. Like, I don't know. They're not it.
I like what I think the Pelicans are going to make some real noise in the West this year.
I think that they definitely can. I don't know why. I feel like they're just missing someone too. Not like a superstar player. I think those guys are in place. They're just missing like one more dude. Like, I hate to say it, a guy like, and I know they got what's the guy's name? Alvarado. Like, he's kind of like such a pesky player too, kind of like a Pat Bev. But I feel like they're missing like a Pat Bev, like on that type of team. Hold
on 1 second. Why is Michael Smith, formerly of ESPN, on my fucking screen right now with this nappy ass fro, this terrible beard?
Bro, he wears that shit every week. It's so crazy how
I don't watch the post game show.
Oh yeah, he's their guy.
Just take off my TV. Go find Jamel Hill.
And NBC too.
Hey, so question: do you? Because we're about to end it. AD, what AD did before he got flu-like symptoms. Do you think that's sustainable? Do you think that's real? Do you think the Lakers should move AD because he's hot, or do you think the Lakers should go? We got LeBron, AD. We're gonna move Russ, these picks, Pat Bev, and some of these other guys that we signed that ain't worth a damn, and see what we can get for them.
The West is so open to where I would be moving Russ. I would be keeping AD. I don't think that obviously that high of a level is sustainable, but what it was good to finally see him play a game that he would play in New Orleans every 5 or 6, 7 games. He would have a game like that. So like, it's good to see him being able to do it and then to do it back to back and it not being, even though he's out with illness, it not being an injury thing of where he's got knee soreness or Achilles soreness or something like that.
Nah, bro, he got COVID.
I know, I'm saying, but it's good to see.
Right, yeah, like and I think going for 43 against Giannis or whatever you want against Giannis, I think that mattered because I thought that was personal. And I was like, hey, Giannis, I hear what they're saying. I see what you've done. But you're a basketball player. Anthony Davis does more things better than Giannis at basketball. And I'm not saying that he's better than Giannis today. I'm not saying that what he does gets you closer to winning. But Anthony Davis has a more layered basketball game than Giannis Antetokounmpo.
You trust him with the ball in his hand.
Because, dog, Giannis can't in and out, pull up, and shoot, and that shit be natural.
And it'd be an 18, 19-foot shot at that.
Yeah, no, AD can, he can go between his legs and pull up, and it looks natural, and it goes in.
In the bubble, was it the Western Conference Finals? AD made like a game-winning 3 in one of those games.
Yeah. He caught that game-winning 3 in Yakum.
Was it the
What?
West?
Yeah, Western Conference Finals. Yeah, it was against the Nuggets and Jokic. You know, big
They're not
overrated
for
guy.
really. I got to see the Mavericks fucking bully them, and it's just like it is crazy. And they're getting bullied right now by Dame Dollars as well, which is what
Well,
Dame does.
you know how I feel about Jokic's teams. You know how I feel about Luca's teams. They're not there yet. I think those two guys are amazing players, but
Dallas
they
is
don't.
a piece away from being the best team in the West. Put it
But
this
what?
way:
But hey,
if,
question. What
if
is the
Anthony Davis
piece?
played on the Mavericks, they would be the best team in the West.
Who?
But if Anthony Davis was on the Mavericks and you traded Christian Wood, bro, you can give them Finney Smith,
Reggie
Cleveland,
Bullock, Finney Smith. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, all that
Hardaway.
bullshit.
If you put him with Jason Kidd, which obviously Jason Kidd was an assistant on the Lakers team that won, you put him on there, I promise you they would be the best. Even with his usage rate, like
Question. Now, and that's my question. Does Luca's usage rate drop?
with a player of that caliber,
Yeah.
it has to. It has to. Because 80's not going to really. 80 to me is okay with being a 21-10 guy. But even in the process of him being a 21-10 guy, Luka's got to be okay with being 26, 7-9, as opposed to 35, fucking 9-12. Like he's got to be okay.
I agree. As long as Luka is mentally ready to take a step back because he has better support, I think it could work. But if he's not, I mean, I would love to package John Collins, Bogdanovich, and who else? Somebody else for 80, so he can run with Trey DeJounte and AJ Griffin.
Yeah.
What's his name? Capella, get him out of here too. Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah, the Hawks, they've got to redo what they've got going.
Well, they got to figure out what the hell they're going to do with their coach because the way he and Trey are talking in the media is, Nate, you're done.
Yeah, he's gone.
Last thing before we get out of here, because we're going to circle back to Herschel before we actually got here. But Kyrie got let go by Nike. Are you going to stop wearing Nike because they did Kyrie so dirty?
No.
Kyrie wore Nike shoes, but he X'd out the check and said free at last. And I just really thought about all the libs who will say, we're going to protest Twitter by tweeting fuck Twitter.
Hashtag fuck Twitter, right.
And I go, hey, yeah, man, just keep giving me money while saying fuck me. That's fine. You can fuck me all you want as long as you're paying me. These companies, they're for sale. Literally.
Yeah. They're publicly traded, too.
Most of them are, yeah. And lastly, man, as we close out, Herschel Walker lost the Senate election in Georgia. You and I, again, we fall more on the conservative side of politics. And we don't vote blue just because we're going to the ballot because we're not Crips. We're reasonable individuals who think about what makes sense for us and what we think makes sense for the country. Oh wow, that's not okay. We got some comments from some freaky 669 fun people. Not touching that. Those comments are putting them up here. But but Herschel lost. And I'm happy Herschel lost, not because I think Raphael Warnock is so much better than Herschel, because he's a preacher, and I think if you commit to the clergy, I don't know if politics is where you need to be as an official politician. Personally, these are my personal thoughts. But Herschel Walker, separation of church and state. But Herschel Walker, it was upon the Republican Party where they tried to get a black person to divide the black vote. They tried to find somebody who was a good old Georgia boy, because he played football at
Only
UGA.
Only
Heisman Trophy winner, a national championship, one of the most decorated players to come out of University of Georgia, most recognizable names.
football history.
And he's from South Georgia. And if you're not from the state of Georgia, I don't think y'all understand. If you find somebody from South Georgia that can relate to the whole state, you did something there because I live in South Georgia and these niggas speak a different language. Like Herschel Walker says bike. Yeah, we gotta get bike to what Georgia needs to be. They don't say bike in North Georgia, they say back. Hey, Charlie, hey, dog, you didn't get back. Down here they be like, hey, I didn't get bike. So like Herschel Walker is trying to like cross over multiple lines of America using UGA football. Not being a good politician, not being a good person on paper, not
None of that.
having any experience. Like, yo, Herschel Walker, you're just a fucking pawn. The Republican Party, you should be ashamed of yourself for trying to throw such an obvious pawn in front of people. I'm not saying that other politicians aren't pawns and they don't win because I'm not a fool. That happens. But be better about disguising what it is that you're trying to do. Like, hey, let that nigga go be the mayor of like some random ass bumblefuck town that he used to play football in
Oh,
for like,
Bainbridge.
huh?
I said Bainbridge.
Yeah, let go be the mayor of Bainbridge for a few years so that we can say, oh, he got experience. Then he show up. He's saying, yeah, I don't believe in abortion. And then you got paperwork. This nigga done bought like 18 of them. You go, well, come on, dog. If I wanted to believe in you, I can't. So, what are your
It's
thoughts on
crazy.
Herschel Walker not winning and running out of votes, man?
No surprise here. I mean, on my end, I did my part in not electing him, not because, well, because basically, I mean, I thought he was an idiot, and it's just hard for me to vote for an idiot. And look, doesn't take away from the greatness that he brought to the University of Georgia. Obviously, I wasn't alive for it, but I've heard some of the stories. I've seen a lot of the clips. Great football player there. I'm sure that he's even been a solid businessman. I mean, based on what I know, all the chicken farms and stuff that he's owned and ran, they've all been very relatively successful, and that's good for him. But that isn't what we it just wasn't going to work, and that was just pretty much my only thing with that. But you know, the fact that he could even get it that close goes to show that if the Republican Party could just put together a actual solid candidate, that they'll probably end up taking the Senate back here shortly. Because it shouldn't have been
But
that close in reality.
what it also shows you is like, hey, a lot of people are stupid. Like, there are people
Well,
who voted
a
for
lot of
Herschel.
people are voting parties only. Like it's strictly a
Yeah,
party
bro.
thing.
Yeah, like again, that's what makes them stupid. It's like, hey, we're voting for Herschel because he's not a Democrat, and it's like, hey, man, that's stupid. But then I also
Yeah.
saw people say, don't vote for Herschel, vote for Warnock because he's not a Republican. I go, yeah, y'all are stupid too.
Yep.
But anyways, Georgia, correct. I think Georgia's where it needs to be. We have two Democratic senators because we have more Democrats in our state than Republicans. But we have a Republican governor, which I think is right. I think Brian Kemp he represents the state in the way that the state should be represented because hey man, Stacey Abrams, I voted for you because you're gonna legalize fucking pot and you're gonna legalize fucking sports gambling, but you and your California rhetoric is never gonna get elected in the state. I'm sorry. It's just not. You can take that shit to California and try to take Gavin Newsom's job, or maybe try to take Ossoff's job as a Georgia state senator. But like what you're spewing, that's not Georgia. And even if I don't agree with a lot of what Governor Kemp is saying and doing, and him and Brad Raffensperger, what they were putting out there, that's what represents the state. And Who am I to say that, like, hey, these people who represent what most of the people in the state believe are wrong for representing that? But
Right.
I'm kind of done here. You got anything else, Parlay Pete? You can respond to that and we can call it a pod.
I'll respond this way. Herschel loses means Georgia wins. And I mean literally too, but I also mean the Georgia Bulldogs.
Go dog, sick 'em.
They're going to end up winning the college football playoff. I don't see how they don't. Their best chance of losing, in my opinion, would actually be to Ohio State, but I don't see it happening. But go Dogs, go Georgia, and I'm done here.
All right, dog. I'll see you next week because I will actually not see you in person next week.
Yeah. All right, brother. Take care.
All right, dog.
All right.